for pay and benefits. The first report on Wisconsin's official change a little thin with 715 newsroom coverage. There are some highlights on the report, and John DeMaster looks at the big three.
The State Department of Natural Resources releasing its highlight report on climate change and environmental equity. There are 3 highlights. DNR said it launched a greenhouse gas emission inventory, studied landfills across the state, and partnered with a number of groups to plant 9 million tree seedlings. The report says climate change and environmental equity are top priorities of the DNR. I'm John DeMaster.
And holy cannoli, you know they had to have said it after the chefs broke the record for the longest cannoli, right, Mark?
The Guinness World Record was shattered on Sunday in Sicily when a group of chefs from all over Italy cooked up a 70-foot-long version of the dessert. Organizers say the shell was filled with more than 1,500 pounds of ricotta cheese. The previous record-setting cannoli was just 16 feet long when it was made in 2016. I'm Mark Mayfield.
And when it comes to the chili cook-off, we're getting into that season, football, fall, get the crock pots ready. I don't know how this is going to go this year. Last I looked at his recipe, it was
filled with more than 1,500 pounds of ricotta cheese.
For Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Morgan McCarthy.
We'll kick off the morning with some patchy fog, but we'll otherwise have plenty of sunshine to take us through the morning and into the afternoon. However, there may be some areas of haze with some of that wildfire smoke with those fires out to the west. Otherwise, temperatures climbing mostly to the mid to upper 70s. Later on tonight, we'll usher in a little bit more moisture. Temperatures will dip mostly into the upper 50s, some of us into the low 60s, before a mix of clouds and sun going into tomorrow with temperatures into the low 80s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike Dandria.
If you've been dreaming of updating your kitchen, building a new patio, or buying a new home, give Dairy State Bank a call. Whether you're building, buying, or renovating, they offer a variety of financing options. More importantly, their lenders take time to listen to your needs and find a loan program that fits your lifestyle. They also offer pre-qualifications, so you'll know you're shopping in a price range you can afford. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships for 70 years. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
On relationships, Dairy State Bank.
Welcome to the Dan Kasper Show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the show that features serious, thought-provoking sports talk and insightful sports commentary.
You knew it.
In other words, it's the show where they all talk a crap load about sports.
Let's go for it.
Now let's introduce your host, a man who lives and breathes and has a passion for sports. A man who breaks everything down in the sports world and gives you everything you need to know. Plus a bunch of stuff you probably don't need, but you'll still enjoy it.
You can't handle the truth.
Here is your host, Dan Kasper.
Prime time. Prime time.
What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday. We're making a turn on this week here this morning. Dan Kasper Show is on the air. Radio dials, you got a couple of those, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, also available online at sportstalk1051.com, where you can get the link for the YouTube video stream, also streaming on the website. You got the app in your Google and Alexa home devices. But good morning, and thank you for making us part of your Wednesday morning here. Let's get through the game plan here this morning. What do we got on tap? What are we going to be hitting up? Brewers getting the victory last night against the Cardinals. A little entertaining at the beginning there. A lot of runs scored, a little back and forth at the beginning. Brewers putting up 2 in the first. Cardinals respond with 3. Brewers put up 2 in the second. Cardinals tie it up with 1. And then, well, that was it for the Cardinals. The Brewers tacking on a couple more in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 8th to secure an 8-4 victory against the Cardinals. So if you're doing a little scoreboard watching, though, didn't really make up any ground because Padres beat the Mariners 2-0 last night. So Brewers will try to go for the mini sweep tonight with Corbin Burns on the mound for the Brew Crew. And he's going to be going up against the ageless wonder, Mr. Adam Wainwright. So first pitch be around 6:45. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior. But getting closer. So Brewers getting it done yesterday with that bullpen start, even with Matt Bush having to leave the game in the first inning with a groin issue. But still, Brewers able to get it done, even though it was a little sketchy there in the first couple innings. They'd go up, Cardinals take the lead. They take the lead, Cardinals tie it up. You factor in like it was an early, exit with Bush there. You're thinking, oh boy, here we go. Brewers probably are they going to have enough offensive firepower to stay around, to stay, up with the Cardinals there? They're going to have enough pitchers to get through this thing, and well, they got it done. They got it done last night. So hopefully they get it done tonight and maybe get a little help from the Mariners over there. Come on, Seattle. But yesterday, too, or last night, the Brewers went through 7 pitchers. 7 pitchers, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, excuse me. I didn't see Suter there at the bottom. 8 pitchers last night. So with Burnsy on the mound tonight, hopefully be able to rack up some of the innings there and maybe not have to go to the bullpen. But they didn't have to use Devin Williams last night. Perdomo going 3 innings. Gets charged with the blown save, but also the win. So one of those weird things. But yeah, we'll chat some more Brewers coming up a little bit later on, and also what's the latest in the playoff chase here. Big thing from last night was Aaron Judge hit a couple of dingers, 56 and 57. It'll be curious now because kind of look at it with the Yankees coming to town to Milwaukee this weekend. Will Aaron Judge surpass Roger Maris in Milwaukee? Kind of that little chatter coming up for the series this weekend as the Yankees visit Milwaukee. So we see Judge perhaps making a little history of Milwaukee, and then after that, could Albert Pujols, with their 2 games in Milwaukee, will he maybe hit 700? Hit home run number 700 in Milwaukee. Now he's got a little bit more time to get closer to that or even surpass it. St. Louis doesn't come to Milwaukee until September 27th for 2 games, the 27th and the 28th. But I don't know. It might be a situation where we see a little national spotlight on Milwaukee, and it not necessarily for the Brewers here, but something to kind of keep an eye on. Twins last night. 20 fans, how are you feeling about so close to a no-no? A combined no-no. Ryan, he went 7 innings, hitless 7 innings. Pulled after 106 pitches, though. The Moran yielded a 1-out double in the 9th. So Twins were close to the combo no-hitter, like the Brew Crew got with Burnsy and Hader last year. But yeah, there was I guess some booing too from the Twins faithful at Target Field when Ryan got pulled last night. But that's kind of a thing now. We're seeing that, especially with the youngster pitchers and pitch counts and that sort of thing. But I think if you were at that game, kind of curious to what your reaction was, because I know of a few people that were at the game. I know of a few people that were at the game. But if you were one of those that if you were at the game last night, what was your reaction to when you saw Ryan, wheeling and dealing the no-hitter and then getting pulled against the Rays? So, but we'll chat some Major League Baseball throughout the morning as we get closer to the end of the regular season, believe it or not, just a few weeks away. Playoff pushes here. You're kind of looking at the standings, as we said. Brewers just keeping pace right now. And the Padres taking care of business. Minnesota since they've gone 3-7 in their last 10 games. They've fallen a little bit behind now in the AL Central race. They're third in that spot. Cleveland holding on to the number one against the White Sox. White Sox 7-3 in their last 10, but Cleveland has won 5 in a row right now. So, but we'll go over that a little bit later on. Packers will be returning to practice today. We'll hear again from Matt LaFleur and such, but get kind of an idea of maybe where some of the players are at injury wise. Interesting move yesterday, in case you missed it, but the green and gold, the Packers promoting tackle, the mountain himself, Caleb Jones, that 6'9", 340-pound left tackle that had a pretty darn solid preseason training camp. Packers promoting him to the active roster. Chris Barnes moved to the injured reserve. Now, again, remember, that doesn't mean that he's done for the year. It just misses at least 4 games. So just missing at least 4 games here. But couple things it tells me, maybe more than a couple, but Chris Barnes going to the IR and not having another inside linebacker, at least as of yet, on this roster, maybe bodes well for the availability of Quay Walker this weekend's game, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Green Bay would want to go into a game with just 2 inside linebackers active for the game, but I guess never say never. But perhaps this bodes well for Quay Walker and that shoulder injury he suffered against the Vikings on Sunday. And I know there was some thought about, like, okay, adding another offensive lineman, what does that mean? Perhaps to the return of Bakhtiari or Elton Jenkins or anything like that. I don't know if it signifies that, but I wonder if it's more in terms of, hey, maybe there was another team coming to call on Caleb Jones and wanting to add them to their roster, and Green Bay kind of like, nope, we're not going to allow that. You're gonna be promoted on our roster too. So maybe we'll see. We'll see what Coach LaFleur has to say later on today. But Caleb Jones added to the active roster. Aaron Rodgers, if you remember too, was singing his praises and thought he deserved a spot on the 53 for how he played in the preseason and in training camp. Don't know if he'll be game day activations. My first thought was like, okay, first it went to did a team try to pluck him off the Packers practice squad? But then I'm like, okay, is there going to be a release from one of the other offensive linemen that maybe Green Bay's like, all right, enough's enough. We've seen enough. We're going to move on and that sort of thing. But, a lot of people's minds instantly went to, what's the status like of Bakhtiari? What's the status like of Elton Jenkins? But I think honestly, the more you think about it, maybe it was just a thing of, all right, we're catching wind that a team's going to pluck him, so we're going to put him up on our active roster. We've seen that many times. We've seen practice squad players, get pay raises so they could stay with the ball club. Obviously, Green Bay is very high on Mr. Caleb Jones, so we'll see. We'll see how that kind of all plays out here. But again, the Packers will be returning to practice today. I'm going to throw a question out to you. Kind of, who do you think is the most likely to be a bounce back player Sunday night for the Packers against the Bears? If you had to pick one, who do you think is going to be a bounce back player? And try to avoid Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's a fairly easy one to pick. It's always kind of easy to pick the quarterback to, after a game, and if you look at the stat sheet and that sort of thing, like, oh yeah, Aaron going up against Chicago. Now that's try to avoid Aaron. So if we had to take Aaron out of this equation, maybe kind of give me a bounce back sleeper player. Okay, maybe not the status of one Aaron Charles Rodgers. So think about that for a little bit. You can hit me up with some texts on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. We're going to talk a little bit about this Packers-Bears rivalry too, because, well, we're potentially at the end of this season. might look a little bit different in terms of all-time wins. Right now, it is the Chicago Bears who own the most wins in NFL history at 784. Packers are sitting there at 782. So I got a little bit more something of a little bit more bragging rights on the line with the NFL's oldest rivalry. But I want to talk a little bit about Packers Bears rivalry. Maybe have a little bit of fun with this. Kind of break, do a little comparison of some position groups and all that sort of stuff. Because obviously they've got quite the lineage, quite the history, and that stuff. But we'll hit that up a little bit later on. We've got a Good Vibes Wednesday story coming to you, and we won't be going too far for that. It'll be in Milwaukee. Tell you what that is as well. The Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Good Vibes Wednesday story. We're gonna do a little stock reports as we usually do on Wednesday. Whose stock is up and whose stock is down for you. So you can hit me up with those texts or Twitter. Don't forget you can do it on Twitter at DANKSPER, Facebook.com /Kasper Sports 2. So whose stock is up, whose stock is down. New game today. We're going to switch it up. Going to take a break from match game, and we're going to do a little game that I call Showdown. I think I called it Generations at the end yesterday. I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to beat the shot clock there, but a little showdown here. So what that is, we're going to take it a year. I got a thing that randomizes the years. Okay, a little showdown, and I'm doing it on Wednesdays because that's when Luke's in, and can kind of, a little bantering back and forth there, if you will. But showdown, we're going to take a year in the sports world, so it could be a random year, 1955, and compare it to like 1981 or something like that. We're going to do a little showdown. What was the best year between those two in sports? With the ultimate goal of figuring out, maybe, perhaps, one day, what was the best year of all time. So we'll do that coming up. Let's say 7:20. We'll do that where we usually did match game. So, but hey, let's get things rolling on the opening drive on the main course here. So we'll throw in Brewers chat. We'll throw in some green and gold chats. I want to know, who do you think is the most likely player to have a bounce back performance against the Bears Sunday night? And you can't pick Aaron Rodgers. Think outside the box a little bit. Who's the player? Kind of like a sleeper bounce back player. Okay. And just do one. Okay. Don't say a position group. Got to pick one. I'm holding it to you. If you give me a position group, I'm not going to say your answer. You got to give me one player. Okay. What do you got for me, junkies? Let's get things rolling here. All right. We'll take that first break. The opening drive, the main course coming up. Start lighting up those texting lines, okay? A little Brew Crew chat. Brewers getting that victory against the Cards. Corbin Burns tonight. And the most likely player to have a bounce-back performance. We'll hit that all up coming up after these words.
Got a take on today's topic but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
It's hunting season, people. You've made it through winter, spring, if you think we actually get a spring, and summer to get to this point. Fall here in Wisconsin is spectacular. Whether you're doing some geese, duck, or bird hunting and you're looking for that new shotgun, Tilden Gun is your place to go because they will help you find just exactly what you're looking for. That's what they did for me when I was looking for one. They helped me find the perfect shotgun that I was looking for turkey hunting. Or maybe you're still waiting for deer season and you need that rifle come November. Well, Tilden Gun can help you find that perfect deer rifle as well because, well, they did that for me too. Welcome to hunting season, everyone. Make sure you're prepared for this season with the help from Tilden Gun. You can start off by visiting Tilden Gun's website at tildengun.com, where you can check out their amazing selection and even better prices. Nobody can match what Tilden Gun can provide for you. Tilden Gun is located at 12427 98th Avenue in Chippewa Falls.
The VFW Post 305 on Star Avenue in Eau Claire, where breakfast is served 7 days a week, 7 to 11 a.m. And if you're looking for a Friday fish fry, look no further. Try the VFW Post 305 on Star Avenue. And after the Friday fish fry, stay for the karaoke from 9 to 1 a.m. Bands are back on the weekends at the VFW, 8 p.m. to midnight. And Sundays from 2:30 to 6:30 p.m., the DJ plays your favorite oldies hits. VFW Post 305 on Star Avenue, Eau Claire, where no one does more for veterans and their community.
The All of Us Research Program has a simple mission. They want to speed up medical breakthroughs. To do this, they're asking people across America to share their unique health information to create the largest, most diverse medical research program ever. The more information researchers have, the faster they can create individualized prevention, precise treatment options, and better care for everyone. Help make this mission achievable. Learn more at joinallofus.org/WBA. Sponsored by All of Us Wisconsin.
Does your business have a trusted financial partner you can count on? Hi, I'm Larry from Merchants Bank, a community bank that believes in building community by building businesses. That means we're here to be a resource and a sounding board through the ups and downs of your business. It's about a partnership built on mutual trust and respect. We want to know what makes your business unique and help you reach your next goal, whether that's hiring your first employee or expanding to a new location. If you're ready for that kind of partner, join the Merchants Bank family today.
Do you remember the countless times when you were young and playing in the backyard, daydreaming of playing against or with your favorite athlete, or imagining yourself chasing your dreams and experiencing life the way you're supposed to? That's how we came up with a name for Backyard Dreams. Backyard Dreams is WAYY Sports Talk 105.1 790 AM's charitable entity. We have 5 main goals for Backyard Dreams: to provide and promote opportunities for anyone to have a chance to play, to help anyone overcome obstacles to chase their dreams, to help raise awareness for those in need, to help create opportunities for those to enjoy their passions, and to help those enjoy their life and create special memories. It doesn't matter if you are a child, teen, or an adult. Backyard Dreams wants to help anyone. For more information, success stories about Backyard Dreams, and if you know someone who could benefit from Backyard Dreams, just visit sportstalk1051.com and click on the Backyard Dreams tab.
Stand by as we continue our dig for the truth and the toy at the bottom of the cereal box.
Oh, got it.
The Dan Kasper Show.
Going on right now, Bloodies with Your Buddies, featuring Silver Spring Foods delicious non-GMO horseradish with just the right zing. Join myself and Mr. Alex Edwards of Wax 104.5 as we are searching for the most creative and still edible thing to put in a Bloody Mary. You can win a Silver Spring Foods Bloody Mary kit or 3 packs of award-winning Silver Spring Foods mustards. Our grand prize winner will receive a $100 gift card to Hy-Vee and a fire pit at the Thursday Fire Pit Finals on Thursday, September 29th at Hy-Vee. Enter now by just visiting aroundthe715.com, powered by Silver Spring Foods. That $100 gift card from Hy-Vee, you'll be able to load up on some amazing tailgating packages and foods and all that stuff. I saw it yesterday. I gotta try it. A jalapeno popper crab dip from Hy-Vee. I'm gonna have to try that thing out. That sounds absolutely amazing. So, but all right, let's get things rolling here. All right. Bounce back player. Already we've got a bunch of people chiming in on this one. So appreciate that. Keep it coming, okay? Who do you think is the most likely bounce back player heading into Bears week? All right, for this Bears game. Ton of you already with some picks in here. Surveyors say I'm going to go with Christian Watson. Has to be the bounce back player this weekend. He has to prove that he can catch the ball and have 12 trust him. We got G-Man going with Aaron Jones. We got another texter with Christian Watson. Bounce back player this weekend for the Pack will be Christian Watson. 2 tuds, 102 yards, no drops. I'm liking it. I'm liking that with the predictions there. We've got a AJ Dillon pick. We've got a Randall Cobb pick. We've got a Robert Tunyon pick. We've got a Royce Newman pick going with the offensive line, thinking outside the box. I like that. We've got an Eric Stokes pick. Okay. We've got an Adrian Amos pick. Couple of Adrian Amos picks, it looks like, on there too. So, all right, baby, keep these on coming. Keep them on coming. Who do you think is the most likely bounce back player for the green and gold going up against the Bears of Chicago on Sunday? I'm going to minimize that texting line because I get distracted with all the text coming in, but keep them on coming. Okay. I like this. Obviously, I think, we all know that we've, there's a few players you could choose from, right? I mean, we could probably go down this entire list here. Christian Watson's going to be a popular one. Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon. You can pick somebody on the offensive line if you wanted. Robert Tunyon. I'll be kind of curious to see an increase in his reps. You look at week 1 and you look at the snap count, and it was like 20-some% of the snaps Robert Tunyon played, and could be just like, all right, easing them on in a little bit, trying to knock off the rust, kind of getting them in game shape here. But I got to imagine those reps are going to be just a little bit more going up against Chicago here. And I still think Robert Tunyon is going to be a huge part of this offense. And I think he has to be a huge part within this passing offense. So would love to, so when he gets that rust off and kind of see just how they're going to incorporate him in the offense. Because, for all the talk in the offseason about how this offense is going to look, it's going to be kind of exciting, it's going to be different. I don't think we saw anything from Minnesota that maybe gave us a glimpse of what this offense could be. I really don't know. Because is this an offense where Aaron Jones only is going to get the ball 8 times? Hell no, that's not going to happen. So, and is this going to be an offense where Tunyon only plays 20% of the snaps? Gosh, no. It's going to be a lot more once he gets that rust kicked off. So, I still don't think we know what the heck this offense is going to be like. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a glimpse against Chicago. I know, players and quarterbacks have said before, it kind of takes 3-4 weeks to really get your identity on offense. I've heard Brady say that. Obviously, I've heard Rodgers say that. So, but I mean, you could pick a lot of offensive players to be a bounce back player this week against Chicago. And you wouldn't be wrong. Yeah, you wouldn't be wrong. You want to throw Sammy Watkins in there? Throw Sammy Watkins in there. Absolutely. Randall Cobb? Go for it. No argument from me. Want to pick one of the offensive linemen? Go for it. I mean, we just said Pro Football Focus. 4 of the 5 worst offensive graded performers, according to Pro Football Focus. I know it's not the tell-all, but 4 of the 5 were all offensive linemen in that game. Offensive players. On the defensive side of things, the 2 worst players were the safeties. Were Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage. So we mentioned we had a couple people already text in Adrian Amos. So, I mean, if you want to pick a bounce back player from the defensive side, yeah, you got a few of them on there. Starts with the safeties. Maybe you're looking at a little Eric Stokes if you wanted to. Rasul Douglas, I mean, if you wanted to. I mean, I know a lot of people probably, if we just kind of kept it generic, would probably say, well, the entire secondary group, the whole defense or something like that. No, I want you to pick one player. That's why I'm asking you to just pick one player. Really kind of put your thinking cap on this thing. Dean Lowry was graded pretty low. I mean, Dean Lowry, I was excited to see what he could do this year. What kind of production we're going to get from 94 entering his final year. We're looking at this D, and we've been talking about the defensive line and the depth, and you got Kenny Clark, you can move him around. You bring in Reed, you draft Wyatt. Could a guy like Dean Lowry really benefit from the improved depth on that defensive line. And, well, he didn't have himself a great game. I believe he was the lowest graded run defender on the defensive line for Green Bay, too. So Dean Lowry might be a prime player on the defensive side to be a bounce back player. Point is, there's a list that you could choose from. I think Christian Watson's probably going to be one of the more popular picks amongst Packers fans because of, the drop, the first play. If he doesn't have that drop, is it is it highlighted as much as it probably is right now? Probably not. But I think one of the biggest keys to this, and we'll really break down keys to victory and matchups and that, as we probably get closer to the game on Friday and such. But the one thing I really want to see in this game from Green Bay is as they get ready to prepare for Chicago, you gotta start off fast. I mean, I want you to set the tone right away. I want you to go out there and announce your presence with authority, both offensively and defensively. I want that defense to go out there and be aggressive. Be aggressive. You know what I mean? I want that secondary to challenge that receiving core of Chicago. On paper, there should be no matchup. I mean, Green Bay has the clear advantage on paper. I want those corners, and I want that secondary to challenge the receiving group of Chicago. I want that defensive line. I want that front to constantly make Justin Fields a little, happy feet back there. You do have to watch out for his legs. I think that's the dangerous one of his dangerous parts, but perhaps at this point in his career, one of the most, if not the most dangerous part of his game is, extending the plays, getting outside the pocket, scrambling for some yards. Green Bay can get that contained rush on him and just make him very uncomfortable back there where he's got some happy feet. I want that defense to be aggressive against Chicago's offense and get some confidence rolling right away in the game. And then on the flip side, offensively, I want you to be aggressive too. I want you to be aggressive. Don't get out of your elements and just start trying to chuck the ball down the field and hoping for big plays. You've got to get 33 more involved. You've got to get 28 more involved. But I want you to be aggressive. I want you to keep that foot on the pedal to the metal. I think the absolute perfect start in this game were to be if Green Bay starts on defense, it's a quick 3 and out. You get the ball back to your offense, and they march it down and put up a touchdown right away. Get that confidence going. Get the Lambeau Field crowd into it right away. Get the momentum and don't let it go. That's what I want to see from everybody on this team on Sunday night. Being aggressive and attacking, getting on the offensive. There's no reason to play passive in this game. So that's what I want to see. And that's why I think a part of it is you can make the case for a lot of people or a lot of players being on that list for a bounce back type of performance. As we mentioned in the opener there, in the game plan, but a little bit of news yesterday is that Caleb Jones added to the active roster for the Packers, the massive offensive lineman, and it was reported before it was officially announced by Green Bay, so we didn't know. We knew there was a corresponding move happening, but we didn't know exactly what that corresponding move was going to be, and it ended up being Chris Barnes being placed on injured reserve, so he's going to miss at least 4 games here. So one thing that perhaps it tells us, at least at this point in time, is that maybe they feel good about Quay Walker's chances of playing Sunday night. Because if there was any concern about him missing some time, I mean, they've only got 2 inside linebackers right now in the roster. You'd think, okay, are they going to make a move elsewhere? And they still can. It's Wednesday. They still can. But I think at this point, maybe it's a good indication that Quay Walker is going to be ready to go. And I'd still think at some point they would probably want to add another inside linebacker, to get up to 4, since Chris Barnes is going to miss some time here. But when you add an offensive lineman to your active roster, a lot of our mindsets go to, oh no, did something happen with like Bakhtiari? Did something happen with Elton Jenkins? It's at this point in time, that's kind of where our first thing, or where our minds go to first. It's like, oh boy, something happened. What's going on? So, I mean, we'll find out, I guess, today at practice. We haven't heard anything there, but I think it might just be something as simple as, you know what? We knew of a team that was going to try to pluck Caleb Jones. We want to keep him. And the only way we could keep him is adding him to our active roster. Could be something as simple as that. My mind at first honestly kind of thought that, oh, are they going to move on from one of their offensive linemen and just like, all right, we've seen enough. Enough's enough. We're going to release you and just move on. Haven't seen that though. So, and with the inside linebacker too, I mean, you got Ray Wilborn, who's on the practice squad right now, and he had himself a solid preseason and training camp for the Packers. I wouldn't be surprised, when you look at it, could he be a potential practice squad elevated player? I think that's probably a safe bet at this point, is that Ray Wilborn, if the Packers don't make any other moves, that inside linebacker, that you're going to see number 57 probably being, that game day activation or the practice squad elevation player. And it might be mostly for special teams, but I mean, when you look at it and you lose a guy like Chris Barnes, it has a trickle down effect. McDuffie, who was on there, maybe playing some special teams, probably not going to be playing as much special teams. So got to move it up there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe like a Ray Wilborn, who had himself a very good preseason, perhaps get an opportunity now to see what he can do. Kind of looking at the practice squad for Green Bay, the other linebackers that they got on there are mostly outside linebackers, like a Ladarius Hamilton. You got Kobe Jones, who made some waves in preseason. He was also a player that the Packers had brought in on a tryout, won a job as a tryout, and really made a push to be on that 53-man roster. But he's a little bit more of an outside player too. So, perhaps we'll see. But it sure looks like I would, if I were a betting man, if I were to be putting some money down on that, I would say it probably would be Ray Wilborn. My bounce back player. So I'm trying to think a little bit outside the box here. Okay. Because if you subscribe to the Green and Gold Chalk Talk newsletter, you already saw my sleeper player that I have picked. But my bounce back player, I'm going to go Adrian Amos. Going up against his former team in the Chicago Bears. I think we're going to see some plays being made by this Packers defense. I think we're going to see some turnovers being made by this Packers defense. And I think you're going to see Adrian Amos making some plays in the back end. I think we're going to see an improvement in the communication in the back end of the defense. A lot of it could be, no offense, but little bit easier of an offense to go up against. So you think, okay, a little bit more of an improvement in the communication because they better get that stuff right before they go to Tampa if they're having some issues with their communication. But I'm going to go Adrian Amos. I'm going to go a little bit outside the box here. I know a lot of people are probably going to focus on the offense, but I'll switch it up here a little bit and go defensively and pick Adrian Amos just to be different. Just to be different. Your picks. You can hit me up on Twitter at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports. Otherwise, hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912. We'll take a quick break. We'll finish up the first hour. We got some Brewers chat as well. Brewers getting the win last night against the Cards.
180! The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
I believe that you can never go wrong with either a white or yellow cheese curd. I believe that when it's 4th and 1 and you're down by 5 points late in the fourth quarter at the opponent's 20, you go for it. And I believe one of the biggest things people take for granted in their home is the carpeting. We all try to make our homes look good on the outside with some new shingles and amazing yard work. Then on the inside, we're painting our walls with unique colors, matching furniture sets, and big TVs. TV part I get though. But what about your carpeting? Think about it. Your carpeting takes the most abuse in your home. When was the last time you replaced that carpet in your home? Can't remember, or maybe you haven't. Sounds like it's time to head on over to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. The best selection of carpeting in the Chippewa Valley, all at the best price. They will meet or beat the competition. And the one thing that really sets Carpet City Flooring Center from the rest is the customer service from the entire team. So when you're thinking about making your home look good, think about the carpeting in your home. I believe it's time to upgrade that carpet with the help from Carpet City Flooring Center. Football season is here, and if you're like me, it's got me thinking about the good old days. Friday night lights, touchdowns, cool fall weather, and those old sports injuries. Let me ask you a quick question. Are you still dealing with some pain from those old sports injuries? Is that pain still bothering you today? Let's change that. Start living that pain-free life. And you can accomplish that with the help from Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. To start living that pain-free life today, visit cvosm.com to get started.
It's Chevy truck season, and Chevy offers a full lineup of trucks and accessories, which means it's the perfect time to find the truck for you and make it your own. Make your Silverado bolder with a sport bar and bed liner. Make your Colorado brighter with perimeter bed lighting. And make your Silverado HD more secure with a tonneau cover. Your Chevy dealer can help you find the right Chevy truck and accessories for you to make the most out of truck season. Visit hometownchevy.com.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Fans, for every Brewers bullpen out at American Family Field this season, Gruber Law Offices will make a donation to the MAC Fund in support of the Outs for Hope campaign. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org. This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. BP wants you to come on back. Earn a free terrace level ticket to select Brewers home games during the 2022 regular season by completing a BP Come On Back card with 7 purchases of 8 or more gallons of gas at participating BP gas stations. Call 414-902-4000 for more details. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org.
Sports. You love it. We love it. And quite frankly, I don't trust anyone who doesn't love it. Do you?
Is that a serious question?
The Dan Kasper Show.
If you're in the mood to do a little treasure shopping, head on over to the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore because you will never know what kind of treasures you can find at the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore. Looking for maybe to add a recliner couch to the man cave or to your home, or looking to donate any of your items, you do that to the Restore because your donations, your purchases all go to help fund home builds for families in our area. So you're doing some positive stuff in our area to help out local families. So if you want to, you never know what you're going to be finding at the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore. So if you're in the mood to do a little treasure hunting, head on over to that Restore, 145 North Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire. We got a couple of questions here. I'll get to them here in a minute because they're both the same question from Jake and Surveyor, but rudely interrupted again by a phone call from C-Bomb. What's on your mind this morning, C-Bomb?
Good morning, El Capitano. How are you, my brother?
Well, I was doing better until the phone rang. So what's on your mind this morning?
Well, hey, I was gonna jump to baseball because I screwed you up yesterday. Are we still on football or are we on baseball?
Well, it's your party and you'll cry if you want to. So what's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I always want to talk Green Bay Packers, but I wanted to get your opinion on, the faint little heartbeat in that Brewers playoff hopes. We've got a tough schedule coming up ahead of us yet, but we're only a couple games back of the Padres, and they don't have an easy route themselves. They still play the Dodgers in St. Louis. And
are you even? You said the other day you were kind of checked out on the Brewers. Are you starting to go back into it now?
Well, I am still a bit checked out, and I said all along, I hope they prove me wrong and they go win it all, and that I would be sick because I gave up on them. But I'm still, there's a small little heartbeat there, and I want the Brewers to do well. I want them to win, but Antanasio and Stearns, they tick me off, and what I really want to say, I can't on air.
All right. Well, do you think they're going to do it though? Do you think they're going to get in?
No.
Okay.
I want them to.
All that talk, and you don't think they'll get in?
I told you, like El Capitano, I wanted to get your opinion and your take on if that faint little heartbeat is going to grow.
All right. I mean, it's when you look at it. It was a big win yesterday against the Cardinals, but you got to do some scoreboard watching. You're right. The Padres have a tough schedule. I mean, they got to go up against the Cardinals at some point, and they got the Dodgers, but the Dodgers have already clinched the division. So you kind of wonder are the Dodgers, how much are you going to get from them? Or do they have the mindset, hey, we don't want the Padres in the postseason, so we're going to get them out of there? I don't know. I it's still there. I'm still paying attention. It's a little bit of a flutter, but it's not a whole lot. I want to see how they finish off these next 7 games tonight against the Cardinals, then the 2 series against New York coming up here. If they have a winning record after that, then and if they're only maybe a game back or still just 2 games back, then I'm probably more into it.
Yeah, you're right. This next 7-day stretch is going to really be telling.
Mm-hmm. I agree, man. I agree. So if they can get it done with Corbin Burns though tonight, it's disappointing because they won't have if they get the win today and they get this mini sweep, it doesn't really matter for the division, which is kind of disappointing because they're so far behind the Cardinals now. So if it was closer to the division, I'd probably be, more pumped up and excited about that.
I agree. It would take an epic collapse out of the Cardinals here down the stretch, and that's not the Cardinals, man. They start slow and then they just get hot. So it's every single year. We're not going to make up 7 games in the final 2 weeks. So we got to hope we can get into that 3-game wild card and move on.
I agree. Are you on the Reddit thing that Surveyor that created yesterday?
I am on it. I haven't gone on it yet this morning, but yep, I'm on there.
All right. So if anybody wants to yell at you, they can go on there and yell at you.
You're darn tootin', and I'll yell right back at them.
I think Surveyor's probably already on there this morning. So.
Oh, that's okay. The man doesn't do nothing but sit around and hold a stick. So.
Ooh, wow. All right.
He knows I'm kidding.
Does he though?
I got to get with Surveyor and learn more about rugby, man, because it is a cool sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would love to too. So, and plus he's a big Bigfoot guy too. I think we're gonna have to have a podcast episode on that. So,
yeah.
All right, dude. Well, appreciate the phone call this morning, sir.
Right on, brother. You have a great day. Thanks for letting me call in.
You got it. There you go. There's C-Bomb hopping off here this morning. So before Morgan pops in here, Jake from State Farm and Surveyor essentially asked the same question about David Bakhtiari. Surveyor, here's a question for you. How long do we wait on Bakhtiari? Because we cannot continue to hope and pray that he comes back. Packers need a left tackle, stabilize our offensive line. Frankly, him sitting this long makes me nervous that he will never be 100%. And then Jake from State Farm is Bakhtiari coming back here soon. I'm tired of hearing about his setbacks. That would be my bounce back player after watching Rodgers get his melon smacked around last weekend. Well, if you believe the reports from, if you remember that came out on Sunday and we touched on them on Monday, was that apparently the plan was going to be that he was going to be not playing against Chicago, and essentially the plan would be that he'd be out there against Tampa Bay. Excuse me. But the one thing I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what's going on in that, but to me, it's almost like I'd rather have him get some of the rust out. I don't even care if it's like a couple of quarters that he plays against Chicago, but if his appearance is against Tampa Bay, you kind of worry about the rust thing there. I mean, Tampa Bay's defense, it's pretty good. So that would be a little bit worrisome to me. I'd maybe kind of like him to get, some of that rust off in Chicago in your home stadium. That's just me. But, with the whole setbacks thing and when that came down that he was going to miss, or the plan was that he wasn't going to play the first couple weeks, and I'm like, oh, why didn't they just put him on the pup? You missed your first 4 games and you can bring him back there. But, the other part in this too is that if they do that, then he wouldn't have been able to practice. He wouldn't have been able to have all these ramp-up periods. He wouldn't have been able to perform in team drills. So then you're talking a little bit more rust potentially on a guy like Bakhtiari or on a guy like Elton Jenkins. So I understand why they activated them off the pop. They can get the ramp-ups up with the team drills, with the team practices. They can participate in those 11-on-11s. I don't know how much hitting and actually like how much work they're getting in there since they kind of close it down now with the regular season there. But Matt LaFleur again was non-committal about the Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins thing. We probably won't know until Sunday at this point whether they're going to play. I don't know if what we saw on Sunday against Minnesota changes that game plan, changes that mindset. Maybe they felt like, hey, we know we can beat Minnesota and Chicago without you two, so we're just going to ease you on back in. But the fact now that they lost to Minnesota and they saw that pressure on Aaron, it's out on film right now. Does that up the ante here? David Bakhtiari is going to be on the field at some point. He's going to be on the field. I think he's going to be on the field at the latest by week 3. We're going to see him out there. But we're all kind of holding our collective breaths. We don't know how he's going to respond after that. I think the good news is that, we haven't seen any, like, oh, he's practiced for 3 weeks, but all of a sudden he's out for a couple days at practice or 3 days because, that would probably indicate, oh, there's more fluid in his knee and it's building up and that sort of thing. So, but if he's out there today, now if he's not practicing today, then we got a little concerned. But if he's out there today, I think we'll be good. So, but we will see him at some point. We will. What up, Morgs?
Do you think there's more pressure on him to come back after all that time off? Or do you think if you're Bakhtiari, you go out, you do your thing? Because he's got to be a little hesitant to step out onto the field again, knowing he's been sitting for this long and the people are getting a little bit like, come on, dude.
I think there's more pressure on it from a fan's perspective.
Yeah?
Than Bakhtiari putting on himself.
How so?
I mean, because we've been waiting a long time. I think he's just more anxious to get out there
and
get it going here. And I think we all have to remember too how cautious Green Bay is with their medicals. I remember last couple of years. Like Billy Turner, I remember he was suited up, he was a starter, but he didn't play, and he voiced his frustrations. Devontae Adams last year, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, went on social media and voiced his frustrations. He thought he was ready to play,
And
but
they kept him
but they
sitting.
kept him sitting. So I think you have to factor that into the whole thing of how Dr. Pat McKenzie and that group is very, very cautious when it comes to injuries.
Which I suppose you have to be versus the other. You don't want to send him out there and have him get, worse or injured beyond repair. But it does seem like there's been a lot of sitting lately for Bakhtiari.
And then, an example is Tampa Bay's wide receiver Chris Godwin tore his ACL week 15. He actually played last week, but now he's out for a few weeks because of a hamstring issue. And I was reading that from some stuff on there from doctors, that's not uncommon for a player to come back from an ACL that quick and have hamstring issues. So
because your body's compensating for the knee, and then that screws up other areas of the leg, and for sure, obviously.
So now they're gonna not have him till October. So
well, there you go. I will try not to injure you too much here.
I play a doctor once in a while.
I see that. Now you get out of your scrubs and back into your sports gear here. We're going to deal up the Wednesday wild card, which means we have some random questions, dealing them up like we're on Fremont Street in Vegas and fanning them out to Kasper. We get to find out a little bit more about this guy across the mic from me. And it starts with this. What is something you thought was a mistake, but actually turned out really well?
Ooh, that's a really deep question.
How about that?
What was a mistake that turned out really well?
Mm-hmm.
I'll admit it. I hated when Green Bay drafted Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah?
I was not happy.
Now you're on board?
Well, yeah.
Or you're, okay.
I mean, at that point, I remember 2 years later, I still wanted Green Bay to draft Brady Quinn because I was not on the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon.
Okay.
I was so pissed. I actually went golfing with my buddy Newman. I was like, I'm done watching this thing. I don't want to do this. And I was completely wrong. So
what was your biggest...
I went to his first game and I wasn't on the Kool-Aid yet.
Well, I think a lot of people went to the first game of the season and wasn't on the Kool-Aid yet.
Yeah.
But what was your big beef with him? What threw up red flags when they first drafted him for you?
Good. Well, first of all, I was a big Farvey.
Yeah, of course. Did you hear about the new autobiography that just came out about him? And they were saying, like, dude is not good. He doesn't deserve all the credit.
Are you talking about the Jeff Perlman one?
Yeah.
That came out a couple of years. I got an advance copy of that because I'm kind of a big deal. So
right. And
there was some stuff in there.
And they were saying, though, even the author came out and said, yeah, don't read this. Favre doesn't deserve all this credit. He's not a nice guy, and like just kind of bashing him up and down.
Some of the stuff that's
the welfare and money stuff that's tied up in his Missouri life. Yeah. But I don't think that discredits what he did on the field here for so many fans across Packerville. I think
it's such a fine line, but now with social media becoming bigger, like as a kid, we had our favorites, I mean, as a kid, we grew up and our heroes were athletes, right?
Right.
But now it's social media. We learn more about these people. So now everybody's trying to switch it like, oh, you can't cheer for them or something like that.
And see, I don't think that's a good path to go down. I liked when there was some mystique. I liked when our athletes got to have a little bit of hero status. Right now, the problem with social media is that there's dirty laundry hanging everywhere, whether or not it's true. And people just feel the need to say it louder and louder.
I agree.
Thumbs down.
Thanks, Morgs.
Hey, Kasper, my pleasure.
Yeah. Sports Talk 105.1 with the very latest local news.
Many people in shock as we wait for more information about the death of Eau Claire County Sheriff. Sheriff Ron Kramer unexpectedly passed away last night at the age of 67. Served as sheriff in Eau Claire County since 1996, but had been with the department since 1975. As you likely know, he announced last year he was not running for re-election, was set to retire after his replacement was elected. Funeral arrangements pending, again waiting for more details on the sudden and unexpected death of Sheriff Ron Kramer. Looking into the political stage, we're set to get a new snapshot of Wisconsin's race for governor today as the new Marquette Law School poll is due out probably about noon. It'll look at both the race between Governor Tony Evers and Republican Tim Michels and the race for U.S. Senate between Republican Senator Ron Johnson and Democrat Mandela Barnes. Evers had a small lead in the last poll, while Barnes had a 7-point lead over Johnson. While we're on the political stage, we'll look a little bit closer from one of the candidates, short on specifics, but Republican candidate Tim Michels promises to prioritize funding for law enforcement in Milwaukee. That's if he's elected governor.
I'll work with the Democratic mayor of Milwaukee, Cavalier Johnson. I'll work with the Democratic County Executive, David Crowley. We'll sit down, we'll find out where the money's being spent right now. We'll come up with the right number because People deserve to have crime reduced here in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee officials have asked the Republican-controlled legislature for increased shared revenue and permission to increase the county sales tax to help fund things like police. When it comes to heading to work today, maybe you have coffee in the tumbler, Kasper on the radio, and if you're headed to Mayo or Quick Trip, maybe a smile on your face. Both Mayo Clinic Health System and Quick Trip are the best places to work in Wisconsin. Forbes and Statista came out with those rankings yesterday. Both companies get high marks from workers for pay and benefits. The first report on Wisconsin's official climate change efforts a little thin with 715 newsroom coverage. There are some highlights on the report, and John DeMaster looks at the big three.
The State Department of Natural Resources releasing its highlight report on climate change and environmental equity. There are three highlights. DNR said it launched a greenhouse gas emission inventory, studied landfills across the state, and partnered with a number of groups to plant 9 million tree seedlings. The report says climate change and environmental equity are top priorities of the DNR. I'm John DeMaster.
And holy cannoli, you know they had to have said it after the chefs broke the record for the longest cannoli, right, Mark?
The Guinness World Record was shattered on Sunday in Sicily when a group of chefs from all over Italy cooked up a 70-foot-long version of the dessert. Organizers say the shell was filled with more than 1,500 pounds of ricotta cheese. The previous record-setting cannoli was just 16 feet long when it was made in 2016. I'm Mark Mayfield.
And you know, when it comes to the chili cook-off, we're getting into that season, football, fall, get the crock pots ready. I don't know how this is going to go this year. Last I looked at his recipe, it was
filled with more than 1,500 pounds of ricotta cheese.
For Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Morgan McCarthy.
We'll kick off the morning with some patchy fog, but we'll otherwise have plenty of sunshine to take us through the morning and into the afternoon. However, there may be some areas of haze with some of that wildfire smoke with those fires out to the west. Otherwise, temperatures climbing mostly to the mid to upper 70s. Later on tonight, we'll usher in a little bit more moisture. Temperatures will dip mostly into the upper 50s, some of us into the low 60s, before a mix of clouds and sun going into tomorrow with temperatures into the low 80s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
We now have a pretty good idea how big the Wisconsin corn and soybean crops are going to be this year with the USDA's crop production report from earlier this week. Let's take a look at some farm news this morning on Sports Talk 105.1. And it looks like the size of both of those crops is going to be a little bit smaller. Our reduction, though, is only 1% for both corn and soybeans here in Wisconsin. This year's corn crop across the state now pegged at 540 million bushels on yields of 183 bushels an acre. Last year, the corn crop was 547 million bushels. Yields were 180 bushels an acre. Fewer acres harvested this year. The difference comes from about 10,000 fewer acres. Soybeans are expected to yield 53 bushels an acre this fall for a total harvest of 113 million bushels. Last year, the bean crop was just under 114 million bushels on yields of 55 bushels an acre. Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection has certified the election results for the 2022 Wisconsin Cranberry Board. The members elected, who began their 3-year terms on September 1st, are Rochelle Hoffman from Toma, Amber Bristow from Warrens, and Michael Genevico from Warrens. 7 producers from across the state make up the Wisconsin Cranberry Board, and one of the board's jobs is to support Wisconsin cranberry grower by using their assessment fees for research, education, and the promotion of Wisconsin-grown cranberries. And again, Wisconsin by far the leading cranberry growing state in the country. And earlier this week, USDA officials welcomed back in-person visitors to their headquarters in Washington, D.C., the first group to have face-to-face meetings with Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack and his top aides, the National Farmers Union, including many members from Wisconsin. They talked about the bioeconomy, on-farm conservation practices, climate-smart agriculture, and other future challenges for the industry. That's a look at farm news this morning on Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Bob Bosold.
Dell's semi-annual event has arrived. Save big on PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
Welcome to the Dan Kasper Show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the show that features serious, thought-provoking sports talk and insightful sports commentary.
You knew it.
In other words, it's the show where they all talk a crap load about sports.
Let's
Go for it!
Now let's introduce your host, a man who lives and breathes and has a passion for sports. A man who breaks everything down in the sports world and gives you everything you need to know. Plus a bunch of stuff you probably don't need, but you'll still enjoy it.
You can't handle the truth!
Here is your host, Dan Kasper.
Prime time! Prime time!
Second hour kicking off on this Making the Turn Wednesday. Don't forget whose stock is up, whose stock is down. You can hit us up on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, heck, even Reddit now with Surveyor Sam's Reddit feed up there about the program. So wherever you want to participate with us, let us know whose stock reports are going up and whose stock reports are going down. Coming up this hour, we'll get you that Good Vibes Wednesday story. We won't be going too far, just a little bit down to Milwaukee there for our Wednesday Good Vibe story. We'll get back to some more baseball talk, too, with the playoff chase still going on. Brewers with that victory from last night against the Cardinals in a bullpen start that looked like it was going to be doomed right away with Bush only not even getting through the first inning, but Brewers offense helping out, getting the victory, and now Corbin Burns is going to be going up against Adam Wainwright tonight. Come on, Mariners, help us out here a little bit going up against the Padres and picking up some wins. So, but and then plus you Twins fans, as we mentioned in the first hour, what were your feelings last night seeing your rookie pitcher getting pulled in the seventh, even though he did have 106 pitches, but had the no-no going. The combo no-no was broken up in the ninth there. So, but Twins falling a little bit down in that division race too. So, all right, let's do some sports nuggets of the day here this morning. 1916, Christy Mathewson won his 373rd career game. He was with the Cincinnati Reds. It was the only victory he had earned for a team other than the New York Giants during his 17-year career. Let's go with 1986. Bob Brenly tied a Major League Baseball record when he committed 4 errors in 1 inning. Kind of sounds like my slow pitch softball career. Denny McClain, 1968, became baseball's first 30-game winner in 34 years. Dizzy Dean had earned 30 wins in 1934. Let's go with 1990. Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. hit back-to-back home runs against the Angels. The Angels did end up winning that game 7-5. 1994, it was announced that the season was over for the National Baseball League on the 34th day of the players' strike. The final days of the regular season were canceled. Baseball owners had voted 26-2 in favor of ending the season. The result was a year with no World Series for the first time since 1904. What else do we got? Jamal Lewis. I remember this game. 2003 set an NFL record for yards gained in a single game when he gained 295 yards rushing. Ravens beat the Browns 33-13. And good old Vinny Testaverde, 2003 with the Jets, became the 9th player in NFL history to pass for 40,000 yards. Vinny Testaverde. Those are just some of your sports nuggets to kick off this morning. So, Luke, we are not going to be playing match game today.
Okay.
We're going to be doing a little bit of a different style of game that I think you will like.
Okay.
I'm calling it Showdown. And what it is, we are going to randomly generate, I've got the website up here, 2 different years. Okay?
Okay.
And we're going to pick which year was the best. We're going to debate it. And we're
Okay.
going to factor in sports, music, and movies.
Ooh. Wow.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So when I'm going to give you the 2 years here after I click the button, give us a little bit of time. I don't know what the years are.
Okay.
Give us a little bit of time to kind of like, oh yeah, that's when so and so won. That's what the top movie was, or some of the music and all that sort of stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So figure that's kind of in your wheelhouse there too with the music stuff. Yeah. So you're gonna kick my butt on that part, but it is what it is. So are you ready?
I am ready
for me to click generate.
Click it good.
The 2 years that we will be having in our showdown. Ooh, this is in your wheelhouse. 1985, 1978.
1978 and 1980.
85.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's like
Why
your
did you
wheelhouse.
do that?
Ask generatormix.com why it did that. So
Wow. Oh gosh.
I wasn't around for any of those. I was 1 year off from
Okay,
85.
now granted, for
so.
78, I was born partway through.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, so when
But you're going to dominate the music part of that because, well, that's greatest hits.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Oh.
those are like 2 of our core years on that radio station. So
Do you want some extra time? Do you want to do this in the 8 o'clock hour, or do you want to do it coming up here in a few minutes? Do you want some extra time?
Let's do it at the 8 o'clock hour.
Okay.
I want to do my research. I don't want to do the whole thing where you go through it and then at the very end you're like, oh, right, duh, this. So yeah, I'll give it a bit of thought.
So let's do that around 8:20.
8:20 sounds good.
All right,
I'll be ready to go.
We're going to kind of, go back and forth, and then we'll make the cases for each one. But then we're kind of like judge and jury in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make some cases, and then we both pick which year. Ultimately, the goal is probably 50 years from now, what year was the best year of all time? So that's what we're trying to get here.
Narrowing it down.
Okay. And answering we probably won't go to year 1725. Right? I don't know what.
It might have been a good year.
Might have been,
If I do my research a little bit, that could turn out to be the winner. But at first blush, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So, but we're just going to focus on the music, the movies, and the sports.
There is a sports nugget, though, that has to do with this battle between the two that could be a big tipping point.
Ooh, what did I miss here?
Well, we'll get to it at 8:20. But if I recall a particular stat correctly, there's a certain nadir, shall we say, that happened that could
That's
influence.
a big word.
It is a big word. See, well, now you got an hour to look up what that word means too. See.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks for calling me out on that. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So the one thing I want to, so when we get into this, because I was trying to think about this actually earlier.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to define Super Bowl winners now? So like 1985, because Super Bowl, the prior season, but the Super Bowl might be played the following year. You know what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
How do we want to define that? Are we doing straight up calendar year? Or what are we going to do?
I think it's literally there's 2 categories. So you almost could go with both. The playoffs, whatever games are played, and the game itself count for the year.
Okay.
But the season counts for that
previous year.
Counts for that autumn. So let's say 1985.
Okay.
You could talk about the Bears season.
Mm-hmm.
You could also talk about the game in Palo Alto between the 49ers and the Dolphins. That would be acceptable.
So the previous Super Bowl and then the following season. So we're not. So since we're doing 85, we can't say the Bears. Okay, so I think
a good example would be 2007. You could talk about the Patriots going 16-0.
Mm-hmm.
And leave it at that. There's nothing else. They pulled off an undefeated regular
season.
So
if we did 2008, it would actually, okay, I get
the David Tyree catch would be what
we wouldn't be talking about that. We wouldn't be talking about the Giants in 07. We'd be talking about the Giants in 08.
Correct.
Okay.
Because it wouldn't be anything remarkable to talk about.
Got it.
Maybe okay, but yeah, you know what we mean.
Okay, so we're just looking at the seasons, Super Bowls. If it happens to be in the following year, does not count.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it's literally what happened that year.
Got it. Okay.
The weird part gets into college football because of all the championship stuff, especially back then when championships were on New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing everything up to at the end of the year and the very conclusion of for the prior year at the start of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is how it goes.
Okay. So, yeah, because like you mentioned 85. I mean, San Francisco won the Super Bowl in 85. It's the Bears 85 season.
It was the 85 season. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how we do it.
Might be a little bit more interesting, though, too, if it got a couple really good years going at it.
Mm-hmm. These are calendar years. So what happened that year?
All right. I like it, man. I like it. So, as a Twins fan, Lucas, were you okay with Rocco pulling your rookie pitcher through 7, but 106 pitches with the no-hitter going on last night?
I feel more comfortable in the 7th than if it were in the 9th inning. Like I know the Twins are just close enough. They still could pull off a division championship, but it's tough. One of my main follows on Twitter is think his name is Ted Schwartz. Ted Schwartz does the Twins Daily blog, and he is like hardcore tweeting all the time about Twin stuff. And he was defending it last night, saying, look, you need to hold Ryan's pitch count down for potential future usage this month. There's not a lot of games left. You don't want to have him out when your starting pitching staff is already thin. Right now, the playoff push is the big thing. I mean, when I saw that the Twins were potentially going to get a no-hitter against the Royals, I'm like, yay? I mean, what Twins fans care about most, I would think most would say, is getting into the playoffs and ending that playoff losing streak. Here's a little stat to throw it at you. If the Mariners make the playoffs, and if they win a playoff game, have to do both, that means the Twins would be the team with the longest number of seasons since they last won a playoff game, since 2004.
That's still not, I mean,
that's
it's a long time, but it's, football teams would love to be the last time they won a playoff game in 2004.
Yeah, they're actually, well, that's the thing. There are a lot of, I was doing that same, and I started thinking about for football, like how many teams, there's actually a lot that have gone a really long time without winning a football game, but that's because it's a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
In baseball, basketball, hockey, you should win a game at some point. You'd think there's so many rounds and so many best of sevens and et cetera, et cetera. So this is kind of a bad, well, and I know baseball has had a smaller playoff system than the NBA and the NHL. The point being, that's a pretty bad record to have. Can you guess which team would be second at that point?
That hasn't. Okay, so that would have.
It's gone the longest without winning a playoff game.
Without winning a playoff game.
Yeah, second longest number of years, not necessarily games, but number of years. If I did my math correctly,
Major League Baseball.
It's a team that is oft criticized for its playoff incompetence. I would argue more so than the Twins, despite the Twins' streak. This team gets a lot more attention for its lack of playoff success.
Really?
Yeah. Think of who's on the team.
American League or National League?
American
League. A game. We're not talking series, just a game.
They haven't even won a game and it's
not
also
the A's, is it?
Nope.
Okay.
Goes back to the 2000s, 2009 to be precise, was the last time they won a playoff game.
2009. Okay.
One of the themes of this season was, again, they're probably not going to even get to the playoffs.
Oh, Baltimore?
Nope.
Oh, dang.
No. Think of the stars on this team.
Oh, the Angels.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Duh.
Yeah. Angels are the second longest, third right now, but if the Mariners win again, the Mariners have to win a game for all of this to be valid, but still, those are some bad streaks.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, when you say
Pirates,
especially a game,
yeah,
I'm like,
the Marlins, stolen base.
I was going to say the Reds.
Yeah. The Pirates, every other team has won. In a lot of cases, it's a wild card game.
Mm-hmm.
Not counting game 163s, because you could do that for the Twins and say back in 09, but that's a regular season game. It felt like a playoff game. The when they beat the Carlos Gomez winning run, that felt like a playoff game, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the point is for the Twins is to get to the playoffs and to win a playoff game. And the funny thing is, though, I mean, great if they end the streak. It'd be nice to end the streak so you don't have to go through a whole another year just to have the streak continue. But how far is this team even going to go? No, they're not. I mean, maybe they luck out and win 2 out of 3 and beat like the Rays or someone like that. But what kind of luck would they have against either the Yankees? Oh gosh, that's who they'd probably end up playing at this point, or the Astros. They're not. I mean, there's also that element of how far do you get? I mean, the Brewers, again, they're not that far away from the Padres or the Phillies, but how much faith do you have that the Brewers are going to put together much of a postseason run if they got that 6th wild card seed?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'd end up playing the Cardinals, which okay, but I mean, weird stuff can happen with St. Louis. We know that. But after that, you're playing the Mets or the Braves, or you would in that round. And then the Dodgers, no, I mean, you're not winning the World Series this year. Not the way these teams are assembled. Mm-hmm. We know 5.5 months into the season what we've got.
Right.
So I'm okay with it. It's fine.
Are you more confident in the Twins' chances of winning the division, getting in, or the Brewers getting in as a wild card?
Kind of more on the Brewers side. I mean, the Twins have played some incompetent games of late. It's like who are they losing to? Some good teams they've lost to. Some, again, what has been happening with that team? So I really don't have the faith that they can pull this off. But right now, I mean, like the Guardians series did a lot to smush the notion that they could get there. They've got the White Sox ahead of them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Brewers, I mean, okay, what's the wild card? Bring up the wild card standings. Right?
It's the Padres are the last one right now. Phillies are a little bit, Phillies are a little bit above the Padres. The first wild card's out of the reach.
Right.
I mean, it's either the Mets or Braves. So.
Right. I mean, again, not that far back. So yes, absolutely, I have more faith in the Brewers. I think they're the better team right now. And the Twins have gotten a ton of injuries too. There have been some really poor performances, but the injuries ultimately, I think that's the biggest issue. I mean, there's no Byron Buxton again. All of the injuries to the pitching staff. Tyler Mahle comes on over, or Mahle, sorry, comes on over. Now he's on the IL. Wonderful. It's not working out.
Mm-hmm.
It just isn't working out.
All right. Tell you what, let's take a quick break. We've got people texting in already about the years, the showdown years. So how about that?
Okay.
You're gonna have to do some research there. And
okay.
I'm kind of leaning already towards one right now off the top of my head.
Okay.
So I'm gonna see if I can solidify that.
Okay.
But yeah, this will be happen to be your 2 prime years or your wheelhouse there too.
Yeah,
so.
It definitely is.
So
we will evaluate.
We will get to that a little bit under an hour. Quick break though. We'll be back after these words.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
Do you remember the countless times when you were young and playing in the backyard, daydreaming of playing against or with your favorite athlete, or imagining yourself chasing your dreams and experiencing life the way you're supposed to? That's how we came up with a name for Backyard Dreams. Backyard Dreams is WAYY Sports Talk 105.1 790 AM's charitable entity. We have 5 main goals for Backyard Dreams: to provide and promote opportunities for anyone to have a chance to play, to help anyone overcome obstacles to chase their dreams, to help raise awareness for those in need, to help create opportunities for those to enjoy their passions, and to help those enjoy their life and create special memories. It doesn't matter if you are a child, teen, or an adult. Backyard Dreams wants to help anyone. For more information, success stories about Backyard Dreams, and if you know someone who could benefit from Backyard Dreams, just visit sportstalk1051.com and click on the Backyard Dreams tab.
Keep your feet warm and dry this winter with the Shoe Doctor in Eau Claire. Only the Shoe Doctor has over 4,500 styles of footwear and personalized fitting for everyone in your family. It's backed by the Shoe Doctor's exclusive 30-day comfort guarantee, so you know you'll walk away happy. The selection, brands, sizes, widths, service, and prices that fit just right. Come see for yourself at the Shoe Doctor. Easy to find. 2321 Claremont near Fairfax in Eau Claire.
If you book your move with Dan the Moving Man in the last 2 weeks of September, Dan the Moving Man will donate clothes to local kids shelters for each move booked. You don't even have to move during the last 2 weeks of September. Just book now for a future move through Dan the Moving Man during the last 2 weeks of September and get great moving service while helping keep kids warm in the Chippewa Valley. For every local move booked, they donate $50. For every long distance move, they donate $200. Also, you can drop off or they can pick up donations as well. Get all the info at danthemovingman.com. Dan the Moving Man. They like to move it, move it.
I believe that you can never go wrong with either a white or yellow cheese curd. I believe that when it's 4th and 1 and you're down by 5 points late in the fourth quarter at the opponent's 20, you go for it. And I believe one of the biggest things people take for granted in their home is the carpeting. We all try to make our homes look good on the outside with some new shingles and amazing yard work. Then on the inside, we're painting our walls with unique colors, matching furniture sets, and big TVs. TV part I get though. But what about your carpeting? Think about it. Your carpeting takes the most abuse in your home. When was the last time you replaced that carpet in your home? Can't remember, or maybe you haven't. Sounds like it's time to head on over to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. The best selection of carpeting in the Chippewa Valley, all at the best price. They will meet or beat the competition. And the one thing that really sets Carpet City Flooring Center from the rest is the customer service from the entire team. So when you're thinking about making your home look good, think about the carpeting in your home. I believe it's time to upgrade that carpet with the help from Carpet City Flooring Center.
It's Chevy truck season, and Chevy offers a full lineup of trucks and accessories, which means it's the perfect time to find the truck for you and make it your own. Make your Silverado bolder with a sport bar and bed liner. Make your Colorado brighter with perimeter bed lighting. And make your Silverado HD more secure with a tonneau cover. Your Chevy dealer can help you find the right Chevy truck and accessories for you to make the most out of truck season. Visit hometownchevy.com.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Keep up with the crew all season long by following the Brewers on social media. Get exclusive content, videos, news updates, and more. To follow the crew, look for @Brewers on your favorite channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org.
If you were to listen to Dan Kasper nonstop around the clock for a solid month, you'd become the king of all sports fans, desired by beautiful women, and rich beyond your dreams. I think. Try it and let's see. The Dan Kasper Show.
Bow season's opening up this weekend. We know we got, bear season's going on right now. Hunting season's here, people. So don't forget to send in your pictures to be uploaded to our Tilden Gun Trophy board on our website, sportstalk1051.com. Just click on that Nation tab and you can submit it on there. And then if you're in need of any, gear, firearms for hunting season and that, Tilden Gun's your place to go. Just visit their website, tildengun.com, to check out their entire selection, all at the very best prices in the Chippewa Valley. All right, Luke, we're going to do a little history lesson here.
Okay.
We're going to talk a little bit about Packers-Bears rivalry. There's a couple of nuggets that I think are interesting. And the one thing I was kind of wondering, did they purposely schedule this game week 2 at Lambeau thinking Green Bay was going to beat Minnesota, Chicago was going to lose to the 49ers, because that would have set up the potential that Green Bay would have tied if they beat Chicago for the most wins all time?
I doubt it.
I think they did.
There's so many factors into the schedule. You've read the TikToks and what was it? Katz. I can't remember his first name, but the guy that oversees the scheduling of the NFL, and all of the variations they have to go through, and the prime examples of what they focus on are like number of road games consecutively and that sort of stuff. That seems a little minutia for that to be prioritized. It's the sort of thing where if you can have it in there, like maybe put I don't know how you would highlight a certain position and be like, try to lock this here. You'd try to go for that. That all being said,
they've done it before, or instances like that.
But the thing is that
it's their own fault for assuming that so and so is going to win week 1 and so is going to lose.
Well, that's the thing that I get. I mean, but it's not exactly getting blown up in their face because it's still Packers Bears.
Right.
Regardless, that's always going to be a good matchup. It's a good early season matchup. It feels like the Packers and Bears play a lot early in the season. Correct.
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
Well, here's a fun nugget that Justice and I just remembered the other day, because we were trying to figure out when was the last time the Packers opened up at home. It was Packers Bears when Rodgers broke his leg. So Matt LaFleur has never opened up the season in Green Bay.
Wow. Being great.
That, so.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting.
Broke knee, leg, whatever.
Right.
He beat the Bears with Randall Cobb at the end. That was that game. So.
Right.
I think that was Khalil Mack's first Bears game.
Yeah.
If I remember right. Sean Kaiser. Oh, that era lasted a long time there. So
that was fun. Okay, so I don't think so. Plus, that figure is going to probably keep going back and forth. I mean, there's so much more future to that. It'd be more if this was like, say, the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry in the mid-2000s, where one team had such a big lead over the other team, even though they're arch rivals. Something like that, where one team is getting way coming all the way back to tie after like decades and decades and decades of being behind, something like that. So I don't think so.
I'm gonna now every time I hear Packers Bears, thank you to Thursday Night Football on CBS. Do you remember when they used to have like these pre-game like videos or whatever? Remember the Eddie George one? It's not going to be Brady or Manning, every year sort of thing. Yeah. Trying to pipe up a Titans Jaguars Thursday night game.
Yeah.
They actually had a good one with Packers Bears. I don't know if you remember this, but the best Batman of all time narrated this.
This is a story. The story of how the oldest rivalry in all of professional football came to be. The story of the Acme Packers and Decatur Staleys. How we doing? It all began with two young trailblazers, fresh out of college, determined to make a name for themselves in the business world. They had the same passion, football, but no professional league in which to play it. So they went to work. Until one fateful day, everything changed.
Lambo. Alice. In my office.
Good luck. Thanks. These guys were the original ringers. George Halas had been a huge sports star, playing football and baseball at the University of Illinois. Curly Lambeau played football at Notre Dame under an icon named Rockney. The idea was that Lambeau and Halas would play for and coach their teams. Good choices, wouldn't you say? These guys got right to work. Lambeau, he put an ad in the papers promising players a chance to sock someone in the face and not get thrown in jail. Sounds reasonable. And Halas, he wanted to run more than just a company team himself, so he bought the club from his boss for $100, moved them to Chicago, and renamed them the Bears. No surprise, from the very start, both of their teams dominated their company leagues, but still needed better competition, and they found it. From the Packers and Bears' very first meeting, a tone that would endure for generations was set. Immediately. Over the next 100 years, they became the NFL's longest-running rivalry, long after Curly and Papa Bear stepped aside. From Nagurski to Butkus to Ditka, Sweetness and Singletary, Lombardi, Hornet, and Starr on the frozen country. 55 Hall of Famers, 21 championships, two franchises bonded together in the NFL's longest continuing saga. It was nearly a century ago that Curly Lambeau and George Halas signed the contracts that made them official members of what would become the National Football League. Now, tonight, for the 195th time, one of the greatest football stories ever told. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
It gives you goosebumps, man.
Wow. I remember that. Man, you should play that before every Packer Bear game.
Nice. Get you goosebumps.
It doesn't get old. That's so well, and that's just the audio. That's not without like the actors or that's just listening to Michael Keaton do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks
for bringing that back.
You got it, man. You're a Vikings fan too.
That's history. I mean, come on. They gotta respect that.
Some notable nuggets from this history that I wanted to, because every time I feel like you and I are on, we're talking about old school players and some really funny stories back in the day. It's like, oh man, can you just imagine? I want to go to this one. I don't remember reading about this. 1936, Bears had defeated the Packers 30-3. During a dominant Bears victory, Packers fan Emmett Platten, out of frustration, ran out onto the field and punched Bears lineman Ted Rosenquist, believing he had committed several dirty plays on the Packers. Ted was knocked out by the punch and had to be removed from the game. 1936, that happened.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Try that today.
Right?
See what
exactly.
happens.
You see the clip? Was it the LSU game? That fan just casually walks out on the field and he's got like his hands in his pocket watching the game on the field. Till finally security gets him. It was like, I think it was from this past weekend, but it took him a while to actually. They didn't even stop the play. He's just like standing there watching it on the goal line.
Yeah, what the heck?
Wow.
Just chilling, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I see. Like, he looks like such a nerd too.
He does.
Wow. Okay.
1924, the Bears had beat the Packers 3-0. The Bears-Packers rivalry can be credited for the first ever ejection of players for fighting during a game. Bears Frank Haney and Packers Tilly Voss were ejected before the end of the first half as verbal exchanges led to punches being thrown. 2 years later, Haney was ejected once again in a game versus Green Bay. So, yeah. And, of course, you got the Don Hudson one on the first play of the game in 1935. Rookie Don Hudson scored an 83-yard touchdown pass from Arnie Herber for the only score of the game. This was Hudson's first career reception and touchdown, which we know the rest of that story. We know the debut of Vince Lombardi, his head coach. Packers fell behind 6-0 until Jim Taylor scored on a 5-yard touchdown. Packers would win in Vince Lombardi's first game, which happened to be against the Bears too. So I like the older school stories all the time. Now.
Did you read Football Morning in America and Peter King's diatribe against the potential Bears dome?
I did not get to that part. I've only read a little bit so far.
It's down in, I think it's in the 10 things. I think I'm going to quit because this is relevant to this because it involves Packer. I think it involves Packer stuff. Does it not? Where was it? Where is, because again, this is a Peter King column. This is so long.
It's
yes. I'm just going to straight up read this. I think the Bears absolutely positively should not have a domed stadium, but that's the plan if they move to suburban Arlington Heights and build an enclosed place with no retractable roof because of the costs involved. Imagine the moments in Bears history would have missed with a stupid dome. We've never seen Gale Sayers score 6 touchdowns in one game as he did in the muck and mire of a rain-swept Wrigley Field in 1965. And the last TD on an 85-yard punt return, you could barely make out the 40 on the mudcake uniform. True, domes were just being invented in the 60s, puts in parentheses. Here's your Packer note. We'd never seen the Bears, it's not great for the Packers, but we've never seen the Bears edge the Packers 23-21 in -17 wind chill in 1983. Jim McMahon earning his stripes that day with a 2-touchdown pass performance. That's the game that ultimately, after that, got Bart Starr fired. Then the Fog Bowl, the Brady Cutler Snow Bowl, a bizarre whiffed punt by the Giants in the 85 playoffs. Because it was so windy, all of that. And then he ends with saying, I mean, come on, wake up, Bears. Do not plan a future with a friggin' dome. Peter King's words. The weather's your heritage.
All right.
Dan Schumacher, you're listening. Peter King, not a fan of the Bears' plan. Not a fan.
But it's all about business and money so they can host other stuff.
As I said last week, wimps.
Oh, wimps.
I'm sorry. I get what they're doing. That's no, I don't like it at all. I get it. I don't like it.
Didn't they say it would be like it's not in the next couple of years? It's actually going to be in a few years or something like that.
Wonderful. It's still happening.
Right.
That's the point. It's
no, I'm just saying like it's actually going to take a long time.
It will. It's not an overnight sort of thing. Plus, they got to get public funding for all the development, which that's the big reason they're doing this. You saw the schematics on this, or not the schematics, but the renderings, and there's this huge amount of development that's going around there. You can't do that at Soldier Field. That's why they're doing this, is because they can. That it's land development. We've talked about this on the show so many times. Why are teams doing new stadiums when their current one's 20 years? I mean, Soldier Field, for all practical purposes, is a 19-year-old stadium right now, and they need out.
But they did it pretty poo-poo.
Yeah, okay, so it's not the greatest job ever done, but still, you would think doing all of that, they're leaving. A large part of that is because they can't build it. They can't do a Titletown district right next to that. You can't. So you could do one of two things if you want to bring in extra revenue. You either do like a multi-purpose stadium, like a U.S. Bank Stadium, or you have a whole lot of development around it, like what they're doing in Nashville, the new Titans Stadium, that sort of stuff. There's another fairly young stadium getting replaced. But there, I think that, I'm not sure, is that going to be with a dome, or I think that might be open air. But yeah, the Bears are going to have a roof.
What do you?
And I'm not inherently anti-dome either. I'm fine. That's not a Viking. I'm not inherently against domes. It would actually be kind of weird, for example, if the Saints went outdoors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
who would be the weirdest team that if they were an outside team, then they go indoors, or indoors, then outdoors? What would just be like the weirdest one?
The Packers easily would be the easiest.
Yeah, would be easiest one. Yeah, you're right.
Which is all the stranger considering, again, Lombardi's history with pondering a dome on the field. But yeah, it happened. A dome team going outside. That's a tougher one. I do think it's the Saints, and I know they played in Tulane Stadium to start. I think it's because the Superdome has become so...
It's iconic now.
Right.
I mean, it's, yeah.
So it would be, like, you'd get used to it. Plus, they'd have to... But here's the thing. They'd have to have a retractable roof stadium down there. Early season games would cook down there.
Right.
There's no way they could just have it straight up open air. Like, end of the year would be fine. I mean, it's probably like Jacksonville at that point, but nah, they wouldn't want to have it open. So they would never,
like for me, Detroit, it wouldn't be that weird. And maybe it's just because I know they're in the Midwest.
Yeah.
You know, I know, you go back to way back in Pontiac and all that, but it's just, maybe it's just because of the weather around here.
Yeah. I would have said the Colts in Indianapolis, but they have enough games where the roof's open and you see sunshine that have, it's still a little odd, but I've gotten used to it.
It's not the Cowboys for me. I mean, because remember, Jerry had to put a hole in the roof for, God to see his favorite team. So
that was a Tex Schramm thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Jerry can claim, but that goes back to
Jerry
Schramm.
will claim everything. So
of course he will. But yeah, I think it's the Saints would be the strangest one to suddenly go like when they played at LSU, that the year at the season of Hurricane Katrina, that was strange. I mean, just purely aesthetics. Just seeing the Saints playing on a grass stadium, open air, it was like, what's going on here? So I'm so used to them playing in the Superdome, and they dominate that place so much that in terms of like atmosphere, that would be weird for them to go outside. But the Packers easily. So look, I will be with Packer fans when they guffaw at the Bears for going indoors. And I say that as a fan of a team that plays indoors. I will be right there with the Packer fans on that because each team is different.
Yeah.
And look, I'll even give the Vikings more credit, and I think anyone should give them more credit if you're a fan of outdoor football, because the Vikings wanted an outdoor stadium to replace the Metrodome. It's just the state of Minnesota said, nope, you're getting a roof or we're not paying for it. Well, okay, fine. Here, the Bears are like, we're building a stadium with a roof. That's the Bears' choice. So, Bears.
All right, look at you getting all hot and bothered about that. All right,
like, come on. History, folks.
All right, let's take a quick break, and then we're actually going to do stock reports coming up after the break. Okay. So the rest of you, if you got any stock reports, hit us up with a text, tweet, Facebook, whatever you got out there. Whose stock is up? Whose stock is down? Quick break. We'll be back after these few short words.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Do you remember the countless times when you were young and playing in the backyard, daydreaming of playing against or with your favorite athlete, or imagining yourself chasing your dreams and experiencing life the way you're supposed to? That's how we came up with a name for Backyard Dreams. Backyard Dreams is WAYY Sports Talk 105.1 790 AM's charitable entity. We have 5 main goals for Backyard Dreams: to provide and promote opportunities for anyone to have a chance to play, to help anyone overcome obstacles to chase their dreams, to help raise awareness for those in need, to help create opportunities for those to enjoy their passions, and to help those enjoy their life and create special memories. It doesn't matter if you are a child, teen, or an adult. Backyard Dreams wants to help anyone. For more information, success stories about Backyard Dreams, and if you know someone who could benefit from Backyard Dreams, just visit sportstalk1051.com and click on the Backyard Dreams tab. Football season is here, and if you're like me, it's got me thinking about the good old days. Friday night lights, touchdowns, cool fall weather, and those old sports injuries. Let me ask you a quick question. Are you still dealing with some pain from those old sports injuries? Is that pain still bothering you today? Let's change that. Start living that pain-free life. And you can accomplish that with the help from Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. To start living that pain-free life today, visit cvosm.com to get started.
I was down on my luck, my car was a piece of. Luckily I found Auto King. Auto King showed me that they truly cared. I went down to Bird Street in Eau Claire. I got a great deal, the lowest of the low. Yeah, Auto King is the only way to go.
For many of us, our summer road trips are in the books, and hopefully it was a great year for some adventures for you. Now we're hitting the roads, taking our kids to school, ball practice, events, and games. So making sure your vehicle is still operating at its best is still crucial. This is a busy time for parents. So when it comes to figuring out where to get that oil changed or putting on some new tires, ASAP Used Auto Parts has you covered. Need a battery replaced? Hey, they got you covered there as well. Or how about a replacement part for your vehicle? Well, save money with ASAP's huge selection of high-quality used auto parts. We all try to make sure that we can get and stay on the road safely without emptying our wallet. With the help from ASAP Used Auto Parts, we can. Visit ASAP Used Auto Parts today at 1330 Menominee Street in Eau Claire. Save money without sacrificing quality and service. That's ASAP Used Auto Parts in Eau Claire.
Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary. The price of oil keeps going up. Get in on the oil boom now and help make an investment that can potentially pay you monthly passive income for up to 20 or more years. If you're an SEC accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's project. The U.S. government needs your investment in oil, and you're allowed to write off nearly 100% on your taxes in the first year. Call 1-800-278-7455 or go to EncoreOilCompany.com. That's 1-800-278-7455.
Because you have high standards and won't settle for anything less, like your wife did. It's the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, let's before we get to stock reports, let's do the Habitat for Humanity Good Vibes Wednesday story. Is that okay with you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a couple days
No,
old.
don't do the good vibes story.
Okay. I didn't know if we could see. Okay, so like if there's ever a time where I'm talking and there's like no response from Luke, it's because the EAS thing plays.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain button I push, so if I do it here, it's like, what is it, the AM signal or something like that? I
And
can
there's
hear.
one you can hear just through the board, but that
Just through
doesn't
the
mean you
board.
hear when the EAS takes over.
Right.
So you just keep talking and talking and
Nah.
talking. Meanwhile, I'm over in this room where I hear what's actually what you, the listener, are hearing right now.
Yeah.
And so you're like,
Which
"Dude,
happened
respond."
to us.
I'm like,
which happened to us last week.
right. I'm like, hello, I'm listening to computer voice talking right now.
Yeah. So it's because I don't like the other one because there's a little. It's not as bad anymore, but it used to be really bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad, really. Actually.
Yeah, it's
wait,
okay.
wait, that's the wrong one. Oh yeah, no. I don't like that one. Nope, we're gonna go back to program.
This isn't going well.
No, I had an audition. So,
No wonder.
yeah. All right. So your Habitat for Humanity, good vibes, good vibe Wednesday story. So a lot of you probably saw this. Rowdy Tellez. I don't know if anybody, well, maybe some of you haven't seen it, but from a couple days ago, this gentleman on Twitter had posted these videos and these tweets, and it was videos with like Rowdy Tellez talking to a little boy, and it was a little boy who was crying, and they were on the field at American Family Field. The story goes is that 2022 for this family, his if I mispronounce his last name, I apologize, but Eric Michaels or Michaelis, and he's got two young boys, 8-year-old Clayton and 6-year-old Miles. In April, Eric lost his wife and the boy's mom to cancer, lung cancer. Soon after, cancer also took the boys' two grandparents, Then they lost the family dog in July. They were at the game just on Saturday, standing on the field, getting ready to yell, play ball. Everybody who goes to American Family Field, you see some of the kids yell, play ball in that. But Miles, the 6-year-old, started crying, and you can watch in the video the kids really kind of tearing up in that. And Rowdy saw that, and he came over, and he went over to the kid and asked him what was wrong, and Miles just kept saying he missed his mom. And Eric told Rowdy that his mom had passed away from cancer a few months ago. So Rowdy talked to him for a little bit, consoled him. Rowdy told him that he also lost his mom to cancer too. And he ran off the field, went to the dugout, grabbed a couple of bats and signed them for the kids, and wrote on the bat, "She will always be with you." So really, it gets me choked up watching it a little bit, seeing that little boy cry in that, but just a cool moment from Rowdy Tellez to try to help out those kids. And that's the thing with, Charles Barkley and those athletes could say they're not role models. Don't tell that to little kids, though. Don't tell that to kids, because we all grew up looking at athletes as role models. So even if it just made a little bit of a difference for a little bit there, that was really cool from Rowdy Tellez. So
very influential.
Definitely. It's a tough little video to watch, to see a 6-year-old kind of choking up like that. But thank you to Rowdy Tellez for doing that for those kiddos too.
Absolutely.
So, but all right, trying to move on from that now. Stock reports. Whose stock is up, Lucas?
I'd say Francis Tiafoe.
Okay.
Coming into the semifinals, representing America finally in the semifinals of the men's category of the U.S. Open. That was a heck of a match last week. That was incredible. At some point, we are going to turn over from the Federer, Nadal, Djokovic era. It's inevitable. It's already happening. I don't know that Francis Tiafoe is necessarily going to lead that charge, but there's something to be said there. Had a heck of a performance against Alcaraz. I could see more Tiafoe in the future. I buy in on him more between him and the likes of Coco Gauff and company. There's some bright upcoming American tennis players we may be able to watch this potential next generation. Not another Serena. I mean, maybe they do their own thing. We don't know what, but a lot of potential there. And I like what I saw out of Francis Tiafoe this past weekend over in New York.
My stock riser, I'm going with the Detroit Lions. Do you know why?
Why?
They are currently favored to beat the Washington Commanders, and if that holds, it will snap a streak of 24 straight games where Detroit was the underdog.
Wow.
You made it, Detroit. Maybe. You made it, but stock is up in Detroit right now. Lions currently favored, even though they lost and Washington won. Vegas odds money is going toward Detroit right now. So congratulations, you guys. Congratulations, Detroit. You snapped it.
Lions fever.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So, stock down.
I could say me for jumping on Anthony Richardson after 1 week of notable football. He didn't have a good second week. Let's hold our horses on that. But it's still early. We'll see. That's why it's just a rule. Like I didn't want to do any NFL ones this week because again, that's totally overreacting to go like, "Yup, the Jaguars are." No, I'm not going to do that. I will say teams that have Big Ten football teams that have red jerseys with 2 white stripes on the sleeves and white pants with 2 red stripes going down the side with white helmets with a red letter on them. At different levels, but you know who I'm talking about.
Right.
They have almost identical uniforms, the Badgers and the Cornhuskers. Okay. Nebraska, we know. I mean, in Wisconsin's case, what sucks about that is if there was any hope of a college football playoff appearance, it's done. You can't lose to Wazoo, and even if they're a Pac-12 team, and then get the committee to buy in short of every other team losing like 3 or 4 games. No, it's not going to happen. And I was explaining it to my wife. on Saturday after I picked her up from work and saying, yeah, the Badgers lost today. They were 17.5-point favorites. They lost at home. I'm like, trying to explain this. And I said, here's the thing with college football. You lose a game like that, the particular characteristics of this game, and your season is done on September 10th.
Yeah.
That really sucks. But that's the nature of college football. And yeah, I know if there's expansion, maybe still, that's the significance of every single game. And as we saw what happened. 2 games had some big impacts. Badgers probably almost certainly now no college football playoff if they had a chance anyway. Cornhuskers, Scott Frost gone right after that loss to Georgia Southern. So there you go.
Yep. And Lance Leipold kind of getting names thrown out there a little bit. Nebraska.
Interesting.
And he did, remember, was RJ mentioned too yesterday, he did coach at Nebraska for a little bit too.
Well, I think it was on SV Pod. Van Pelt and Stanford Steve were saying, imagine going back like 30 years and saying that the two of the top teams with coaches in line to become the Nebraska head coach are Kansas and Kansas State. Yeah.
Lance is like maybe potentially, we'll see, but maybe the college football edition of a Bo Ryan.
And for some reason I thought Bo Pelini when I was thinking Nebraska. Still have the Bo Pelini face. Any possibility that would be interesting if Leipold went. Any possibility Jim Leonard takes the leap?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No. Okay, my stock down. I got 2. One's me because my energy's down, so I apologize because I have to have a blood test. So you have to do the whole, what is it? Can't drink really anything besides water.
Okay.
So I've had no coffee. So I'm exhausted. Been up since 3.
That sucks.
It sucks. I hate this.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to have my 3 coffees at like 9:55 this morning.
You have 3 coffees?
Oh, I gotta play catch up, man.
Okay, now is this 3 cups or 3 like ventis?
Probably be about 2 ventis.
Okay.
So
good.
Yeah.
Because if you go beyond 4 cups, you're neutralizing any of the benefit.
This is the downfall of having early wake up calls is when you have to have these type of tests where you have to I'm blanking on the word. What is it called when fasting?
Yeah.
When you have to fast. Well, I got to work first and I can't have anything. So I apologize.
Makes it kind of rough.
I'm the only one in the world on this that doesn't like this, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I don't like the Browns Elf logo on the field. I think it looks ridiculous.
I think it's cute.
There you thank you for making my point.
The point. Yeah.
Thank you. I think it looks ridiculous. So just, put the dog out there for crying out loud, not the elf.
Yeah, I'd be okay with the dog. I mean, at least they didn't come up with like some angry new elf or something like that.
I mean, everybody's got the elf movie GIF meme going out there. He's an angry elf. So
yeah, but just at least they respected their history with that. It's like one of the few good things the Browns did this year. So I'll take it. Yeah. By the way, I'm looking at Good Morning Football highlights coming up in my Twitter feed. What is it with the Good Morning Football lighting people? This is apropos of nothing. Kay Adams had to deal with this too. Why is it Jamie Erdahl's got like a spotlight like glaring right at her face? Like it's terrible. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Like it's like a light is like hello, you're the freaking NFL Network. Can you spend a little money on studio lighting? Maybe.
Kay Adams retweeted me the other day.
She did?
She did.
Oh, sweet.
I was trying to suck up, but that's okay. So trying to get a little more pub.
New friend of the show?
I didn't even think of that. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe.
We'll
see.
Okay.
All right. 2 in, 1 to go. We're going to start it off by playing a little showdown after these words.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. Sports Talk 105.1 with the very latest local news.
Many people in shock as we wait for more information about the death of Eau Claire County Sheriff. Sheriff Ron Kramer unexpectedly passed away last night at the age of 67. Served as sheriff in Eau Claire County since 1996, but had been with the department since 1975. As you likely know, he announced last year he was not running for re-election, was set to retire after his replacement was elected. Funeral arrangements pending, again waiting for more details on the sudden and unexpected death of Sheriff Ron Kramer. Looking into the political stage, we're set to get a new snapshot of Wisconsin's race for governor today as the new Marquette Law School poll is due out probably about noon. It'll look at both the race between Governor Tony Evers and Republican Tim Michels and the race for U.S. Senate between Republican Senator Ron Johnson and Democrat Mandela Barnes. Evers had a small lead in the last poll, while Barnes had a 7-point lead over Johnson. While we're on the political stage, we'll look a little bit closer from one of the candidates, short on specifics, but Republican candidate Tim Michels promises to prioritize funding for law enforcement in Milwaukee. That's if he's elected governor.
I'll work with the Democratic mayor of Milwaukee, Cavalier Johnson. I'll work with the Democratic county executive, David Crowley. We'll sit down, we'll find out where the money's being spent right now. We'll come up with the right number because people deserve to have crime reduced here in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee officials have asked the Republican-controlled legislature for increased shared revenue and permission to increase the county sales tax to help fund things like police. When it comes to heading to work today, maybe you have coffee in the tumbler, Kasper on the radio, and if you're headed to Mayo or Quick Trip, maybe a smile on your face. Both Mayo Clinic Health System and Quick Trip are the best places to work in Wisconsin. Forbes and Statista came out with those rankings yesterday. Both companies get high marks from workers for pay and benefits. The first report on Wisconsin's official climate change efforts, a little thin with 715 Newsroom coverage. There are some highlights on the report, and John DeMaster looks at the big three.
The State Department of Natural Resources releasing its highlight report on climate change and environmental equity. There are 3 highlights. DNR said it launched a greenhouse gas emission inventory, studied landfills across the state, and partnered with a number of groups to plant 9 million tree seedlings. The report says climate change and environmental equity are top priorities of the DNR. I'm John DeMaster.
And holy cannoli, you know they had to have said it after the chefs broke the record for the longest cannoli, right, Mark?
The Guinness World Record was shattered on Sunday in Sicily when a group of chefs from all over Italy cooked up a 70-foot-long version of the dessert. Organizers say the shell was filled with more than 1,500 pounds of ricotta cheese. The previous record-setting cannoli was just 16 feet long when it was made in 2016. I'm Mark Mayfield.
And you know, when it comes to the chili cook-off, we're getting into that season, football, fall, get the crock pots ready. I don't know how this is going to go this year. Last I looked at his recipe, it was
filled with more than 1,500 pounds of ricotta cheese.
For Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Morgan McCarthy.
We'll kick off the morning with some patchy fog, but we'll otherwise have plenty of sunshine to take us through the morning and into the afternoon. However, there may be some areas of haze with some of that wildfire smoke with those fires out to the west. Otherwise, temperatures climbing mostly to the mid to upper 70s. Later on tonight, we'll usher in a little bit more moisture. Temperatures will dip mostly into the upper 50s, some of us into the low 60s, before a mix of clouds and sun going into tomorrow with temperatures into the low 80s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike Dandria.
Mark Menchaca, Michael Lombardi, a high-octane original soundtrack, and cameos from some of the biggest names in rock music, including Five Finger Death Punch, Tommy Lee, and Papa Roach, set the tone for the epic horror thriller, The Retaliators, featuring a 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Don't miss the film critics are calling a pure cinematic masterpiece, The Retaliators, in theaters for one night only on September 14th. Get your tickets now at retaliatorsmovie.com from Better Noise Films.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Welcome to the Dan Kasper Show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the show that features serious, thought-provoking sports talk and insightful sports commentary. You knew it! In other words, it's the show where they all talk a crap load about sports.
Let's go for it!
Now let's introduce your host, a man who lives and breathes and has a passion for sports. A man who breaks everything down in the sports world and gives you everything you need to know. Plus a bunch of stuff you probably don't need, but you'll still enjoy it.
You can't handle the truth!
Here is your host, Dan Kasper.
Prime time! Prime time!
Final hour on this Making the Turn Wednesday. Appreciate y'all tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in. Got quick text here. Good morning. Big Worm shout out to Bob, Mr. Kasper. I'm picking my fantasy team this past week. 1-0. 1-0, C-Bomb. So there you go.
By the way,
Yeah.
I lost my first week.
How did you lose with that lineup? Well, I
CD
suppose. Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb. That was a big
It was
part of
pathetic. You did have Patrick Mahomes, though.
I did. That Patrick Mahomes did a lot. I was getting all these like ESPN fantasy notifications throughout the day. Patrick Mahomes has scored a touchdown. Like, oh, I'm going to dominate. Then I check after all the games and I'm like, what? Wait, I lost?
Yeah.
And I see there, like I had Waddle benched and Lamb playing. I think if I'd flip, I'd have to do the math on it, but I think if I'd flipped those two, I would have won. I think.
Okay, interesting.
But how? Okay, Tua Tagovailoa versus Dak Prescott with CeeDee Lamb. Okay, smart. I think that's the move most of us would have made.
Yeah,
weren't expecting Prescott to suck and Lamb to kind of suck and then Prescott to get injured. Okay, well, stuff happens.
Yep.
Mike McCarthy keeps staring at the video board.
Well, he can't call plays, so what else is he going to do? Which I still think is funny. People, think he does.
Yeah.
And no, he doesn't. That song is it's Timmy Trumpet, Narco.
Yep.
We got a texter ask.
The Edwin Diaz walkout music.
Yes.
I hope Edwin Diaz does well in the playoffs just to justify all of this, which I love, but that'd be bad if he comes out and gets lit up.
Yeah. Timmy Trumpet did well live doing that. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I love this. This is okay. I mean, this is like buzzy baseball stuff.
Yep.
This is great. More of this.
Do you like the new rules that will be popping out? Joey Votto loves them. Did you see that the other day?
I did not see his reaction, but I'm glad there's a player that actually is like very pro rules changes. It seems like most of the players are, if they have an opinion, seem to be anti. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Honestly, the base enlarging thing is the thing that maybe makes me go, huh? The most of any. But I'm not anti any of those. And those that are coming up new are gonna be used to it anyway. So I mean, I think the game will flow better next season. The pickoff thing is really intriguing. I can't believe that had not really been discussed until just now. And I know why it's being done. It's a way to work around pitchers gaming the pitch clock. But that's interesting. Like, you have to be selective with your pickoff attempts.
For anybody who doesn't know what that is, if you want to explain it to them.
Yeah,
quick?
so now you can't keep throwing to first over and over and over to keep the guy at first base to stay at first base, which is the most booed thing in baseball, usually by home fans of road pitchers doing that. But I thought I heard one time, like, even the home fans were booing, like, the home pitcher. I think people are just sick of that. It's always such a oh, okay. And how often does that actually result in a pickoff? It's rare. It happens, but it's rare. But the reason this is being put in place, it's not so. I mean, part of that is pace of play, because that does slow down the game, but also with the pitch clock, because of the timing of when the pitch clock starts to the actual pitch. Well, a pitcher could just keep stalling, throwing to home plate by throwing to first base over and over and over again. So now you can throw twice. Third time, you have to pick the guy off or he gets to go to first. And after that, you can't do it anymore. I like, what are your thoughts on that one? We haven't discussed this. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's intriguing. I just don't want it to get to a point where it gets too complicating. Where like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want so much stuff to where it's like, just play the game.
See, that one seems more simple.
Right.
In that it's
right.
just
And that's why I'm okay with it, but I just don't want to get to a point where we're so like, oh, different factors here. If you do this fifth time, then, I don't know. I just want it so easy so where we're not having to like explain to my 5-year-old, well, technically, you can't take 2 steps here, 2 steps, that stuff.
The more problematic stuff is like touching the rubber and stuff like that. But
Right.
I mean, that gets into balk rules, which I still don't understand. Still 34 years after the summer of the balks in 1988, and I still am like, wait, what? That's a balk? I don't get that. But I like that move. That actually adds some counter strategy where, again, the one thing I don't like about getting rid of the shift is that it takes away strategy. I understand why. I think it's a necessary thing to do because of the way it's being used. It does take away strategy, but there is new strategy being brought in because of the pitcher rule. It's a different type, but there is new strategy to that. Also the whole pitch clock thing, the number of seconds a batter has before they got to be ready in the batter's box had not been broadly discussed. It had been, I'm sure, but I was like, wait a minute, a lot of this is the batters doing their massive tightening, velcroing, unvelcroing routine. They don't need to do that. For the longest time, batters didn't do that. Now they just do because they do. Okay, that's been timed out. That, I think, is a bigger thing, and I'm glad that's being done. That's such a waste of time. So why are you doing that? No. I get it. It's a superstition. We'll get over it. Hit the ball.
Hit the ball.
Hit the ball.
All right.
Breathe the ball.
You ready for a little showdown here?
Yes,
let's do it. So I've got a theme song which might tip I was going to do this song before we even did the year. So it just happened to work out that the theme song to this is one of our years.
Okay.
And you're going to love it.
Okay.
A little back in time. Yeah, a little Huey Lewis right there.
Dun, 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 dun.
Is Back to the Future your favorite movie?
It's like top 5.
Okay.
I've always said I think Ferris Bueller's Day Off is number 1. Back to the Future is a close number 2, I think.
Okay.
All from the same era, too.
Yep.
Star Wars is up there. Those are top 5 movies.
So, yeah.
But yeah, Back to the Future is iconic.
That's one they can't remake, right? They can't.
And they've talked about it.
Oh, yuck.
But I don't know that. Well, we're in the reboot era. Everything is potentially rebootable.
They'll probably, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they tried making a TV series.
Wasn't there a Back to the? I'm trying to, because there was
there?
a Ferris Bueller's TV.
Well, they got a League of Their Own series now on streaming.
Which apparently is pretty good.
Is it Amazon?
Yeah, from what I've heard, that actually works pretty well.
So, I could see Back to the Future being developed in something like that.
Yeah, there was an
pretty easy.
animated version, but like an actual, there hasn't been one of those.
So we'll just kind of do a little generic rundown here, and feel free to add in if I miss anything here. So let's start off with 19. So the 2-year showdown, in case you're just joining us. We're going to select randomly every Wednesday morning when Luke pops on at 7. We got a randomizer website thing. 2 years, head to head, little showdown. We're going to figure out what was the best year ever in sports, movies, and music. Okay? The big three. So 1978 and 1985, for some reason, is what the website picked for this year. So, I mean, you're talking 7 years difference here, which happens to be in Luke's wheelhouse. So it's perfect for a kickoff one, I guess. 1978, Super Bowl, Dallas won it. Gary Player won the Masters in 1978. Andy North won the U.S. Open in 1978. A little shout out, local, Andy North. FIFA World Cup was held, won by Argentina, held in Argentina. Bjorn Borg and Martina Navratilova won the Wimbledon in 1978. Jack Nicklaus won the Open. Then we got Jimmy Connors and Chris Evert won the U.S. Open in tennis. World Series, Yankees. Did I miss anything in sports there that you could tell?
Let's see. So, sports, I was looking up one other thing relating to that, but I think
kind of the bigger ones there. We can get on to brass tacks on some other stuff. But.
Yeah, I mean, those were. I mean, the biggest thing I think that happened in sports in 1978 that at least jumps right out to my mind. Again, could be wrong on this, but I've always thought the biggest thing was the Bucky Dent game.
Oh.
The Yankees coming back to beat the Red Sox. That is an iconic moment in baseball history, and that happened in 1978.
Well, I was reading, since you mentioned that, they termed it the Boston Massacre. The Yankees swept the Boston 4 games and a score differential of 42-9.
Yeah. It was not good.
The Hawaii Ironman Triathlon, considered as the toughest one-day endurance race, made its debut in 1978.
Okay.
1978. Let's do some film in 1978.
Okay.
Then we'll do the music. I know you're kind of the music guy. So, but some notable movies in film. How about we start off with the highest grossing films?
Top grossing films, 1978.
Superman, Grease, Animal House. Some of these, I honestly have no idea. Every Which Way But Loose.
I've barely heard of that one.
Heaven Can Wait.
Heard of that.
Hooper.
Jaws 2.
Jaws 2. Up in Smoke.
The Deer Hunter.
Yep.
High quality movie.
And Revenge of the Pink Panther was right above that too. Some other ones though. We had Halloween was released. You know,
Yeah.
Got that one on there. But okay, this just popped up. Charlie Chaplin's coffin is stolen from a Swiss cemetery.
Yeah.
In 1978. Okay.
Uh-huh.
What is up with people doing stuff
The
like that?
the animated movie version of The Lord of the Rings.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Forgot all about that till that popped up. I'm like, what? Lord of the Rings? Oh,
Here's what hurts 1985. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. There was a movie
we're at
version.
78 right now, man.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
1978.
Right, but
that hurts 78.
You said 85.
No, I said 78.
You said 1985.
It said 78.
You said 85. Go
Well,
back to the tape.
regardless, it
Go
was
back to-
1978.
Survey,
It
did he
was-
say 85 or 78? So.
Well, it was a dud.
Dawn of the Dead, speaking of that, that was a dud. I thought, did that just pop up on here somewhere on my list
somewhere
here?
in there. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like that movie. That was a dud.
Okay, so I mean, there are some iconic ones: Grease, Animal
Yes.
House, Deer
Yep.
Hunter, Superman, though Halloween. Those are some all timers. Okay, fair enough. And then musically, 1978, we're like core disco right now. You had the Bee Gees and the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, which officially came out in 1977. So if we're talking about chart success, it was 78. If we're talking about release, it was 77. But you had Andy Gibb, Shadow Dancing was all over the place. The Grease soundtrack was out that year. So think everything Grease, that was out that year. 3 Times a Lady from the Commodores was out that year. Baby Come Back was out. So you were starting to get Yacht Rock was getting going. Like Kiss You All Over. There you go. A little bit more of that. Rolling Stones' Miss You, Lay Down Sally came out that year. Billy Joel, I think that was that the year that he released 52nd Street? Pretty solid album there. Let's see, what else came out in 78? 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad was out around that time. Foreigner, Hot Blooded, 1978. So, I mean, there's some pretty solid stuff that year. But there's also a lot of like kind of disco-y stuff. All right, 1985.
Yeah, Surveyor said you said 85, by the way.
All right. Well, it ended up being.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Thank you. By the way, my stat was wrong. I was going to reference 1977 actually.
Oh,
I was off by 1 year.
So you have to hold it till we get to 77.
1977. So we'll come back to that.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Let's
1985.
1985.
We need our voice guy to do like dramatic reads.
You know what? I might have screwed something up here. Hold on a second.
What? We had like a whole hour to figure this out.
Well, I might have read off some. Just let me double check something. Yeah,
the movies you read were correct.
Yeah, the movies. Oh, okay. No, I was right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some similarity into this.
Okay.
You want to know why? Because 78. Who won the Golf U.S. Open? Andy North. Who won it in 85?
Andy North.
Andy North.
Okay.
Masters in 85. Bernard Langer won that one. We already touched on the Super Bowl one, but 49ers. That was held in Stanford, won by San Francisco. Wimbledon, Boris Becker and Martina Navratilova won Wimbledon. We got a World Series was Kansas City in 85. Martina Navratilova won the Australia Open in December too. So I mean, those are kind of some of the bigger ones, if you will, from major championships or that sort of stuff.
So 85 had Bears did their season.
Mike Tyson made his professional debut at just 18 years old.
There wasn't a lot locally. It was one of the few. It was the 85 playoffs were the only ones out of 4 straight years that the Bucks did not make the conference finals. And they were still good. It's just they didn't make the conference finals in 85. What was their record? 59-23. I mean, they were actually the Bucks had their second best record of the whole 80s era Bucks in 85. But they also, like I said, was the 1 year they didn't make the conference finals in that 83-86 stretch. Packers were meh. Brewers were meh. Badger football was nah. I mean, there just wasn't a lot to write home about among the big ones. Badger basketball was still kind of so the Wisconsin sports scene was not that great. Minnesota sports scene wasn't that much better.
But movie-wise, 85
Okay, here
has
you go.
a huge
Here you go.
advantage.
Read them.
I think if we're just comparing it to 78 here. Number 1 is your movie, Back to the Future. Number 2, Rambo First Blood Part 2. Number 3 is the movie that ended the Cold War itself, Rocky 4. The Color Purple, Out of Africa. Cocoon, creepy movie. Jeweled and Out, Witness. Remember Harrison Ford. Goonies, number 9. And then Spies Like Us.
Spies Like Us. The Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club.
Absolutely iconic movie. Mask, yeah, solid one. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my gosh. St. Elmo's Fire. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Brewster's Millions was also in 85. So.
Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hello.
Love Teen Wolf.
Underrated movie starring Madonna, Desperately Seeking Susan.
I've never seen it.
I actually did not see it until a couple years ago.
National Lampoon's European Vacation.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Weird Science.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Uh-huh. Oh, gosh. This... okay, there's a little bit of nostalgia bias for me anyway, but you weren't even alive at that point. This was a wicked good year.
St. Elmo's Fire.
Yep.
Was on there too. Yep.
So again, all movies that came out in 1985. So we're not counting a few of the others that were still that were really big, but like Beverly Hills Cop dominated 1985. It came out December 5th of 84. So I mean, culturally it was big, but you're right.
Yeah.
And then the music. Oh boy. I'm just going to read the Billboard year-end Hot 100 singles list, their rankings. These are songs. These didn't necessarily come out in 1985, but they all charted. Careless Whisper. I Want to Know What Love Is. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Money for Nothing. Crazy for You. Take on Me. Every Time You Go Away. Easy Lover. Can't Fight This Feeling. We Built This City. The Power of Love. Don't You Forget About Me. St. Elmo's Fire. The Heat Is On. We Are the World. Shout. Part-Time Lover. Saving All My Love for You. Heaven from Bryan Adams. Miami Vice theme was out there that year.
Can I interrupt you?
Yes.
On one? Maybe not big then, but big now.
Yeah. Yes.
Running up that hill.
November 85, Hounds of Love.
Yeah. Thank you, Stranger Things.
Uh-huh. That was from 1985. Other albums. Okay, there's a Tom Waits album, Rain Dogs, that got a lot of critical attention. That came out in 85. Hounds of Love from Kate Bush. Songs of the Big Chair from Tears for Fears. All classic albums. Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. All in 1985. That was the year of Live Aid. Need we say more? And the legendary Queen performance, among everything else that happened there. That happened in 1985. Heck, there is a song called 1985.
Yeah.
If that's any indication.
Bowling for Soup, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Not from 1985, obviously. But there was, right. That's a pretty significant deal. And I know Barry Manilow had an album called Summer of 78, because that also had some good music. But still. Okay. How are we judging this? Are we going just category by category?
Yeah, just by a vote. Okay. So, yeah, we can go category by category. Whoever gets the most wins. So, sports, 78 or 85?
I'll take 78.
Yeah, I'm going to go 78 too, I think.
Yeah.
Movies, 85.
85 for
Music,
sure.
85. 85 wins. It's
1985 advances. Okay.
Yep.
Now, 78 also had me. I was born.
Oh, I was good. Like, what?
Well, I mean, hello. I was born that year.
Okay.
So, that was kind of significant. If
that depends on who you ask.
True. Touche. So 1985 advances
easily.
All right.
I think definitely.
Okay. Good.
So 1985. Anybody else want to argue? Surveyor easily went with 85 too.
Yes.
He's been chiming in on this left and right now, but yeah, 85.
Walking on Sunshine was 1985. I mean, I'm just throwing out random stuff at this point.
Yeah.
Man.
But Yeah, I'm easily going 85.
Susudio was 1985.
And the big reason, I mean, come on, you ended the Cold War with a single movie, and the second best soundtrack of all time too was Rocky IV. Let's not kid ourselves. I was really looking to see if any of those songs on that soundtrack, like Burning Heart or Hearts on Fire, was from 85. Or were they? Were they?
Well, the sound. Okay,
I know the soundtrack, but I know some songs are a little bit old. Like
Well, Burning Heart was done for the movie, so that would have been 1985.
Yes. Hearts on Fire.
Yeah.
And then you know which one I'm gonna go with.
Oh boy.
Come on, you know what I'm gonna go with.
Living in America.
Oh, no. Was that James Brown?
James Brown?
Yeah.
Well, that's from the soundtrack.
It is from the soundtrack.
No Easy Way Out.
Oh yeah.
Robert Tepper.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the most ridiculous music videos I think I've ever witnessed in my entire life. They should have just made the Rocky IV scene the music video. I mean, Sylvester Stallone cruising in a 5-speed, having flashbacks. He's pissed. Come on, that should have been your music video instead of this guy in a black trench coat with long hair trying to dance to a song that you don't dance to.
That was, gosh.
Air drums. Yep. And then he gets all serious now. So it's like,
yeah.
I remember in, was it freshman year English class, composition? We had to, I don't know what the point of the assignment was. Oh, it must have been, we had to pick a song and we had to, go through the lyrics and try to give our opinions on what the song's about. I picked that song. For one, because this was before the time, I mean, computers and internets were there, but it was really still hard to find like lyrics for songs.
Yeah.
So I had to find a song where I could easily tell what the lyrics were by listening to it. And it was that one.
Robert Tepper. Yep. There we go.
And, other people had like some easier ones. Like I remember my buddy Danny, I think he had Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire. I'm like, why didn't I think of something?
I love how the Wikipedia entry for Robert Tepper says, No Easy Way Out climbed it in the top 40, reaching number 22 in Billboard Top 100 in 1986. But I mean, it came out in 85. And momentarily putting Tepper in the public eye. Momentarily. Yeah. I mean, he did co-write Into the Night. Benny Mardones.
Yeah.
I'll take you into the night.
So when you say Into the Night, I instantly go to The Heat of the Night.
Well,
we should have done the years for TV.
That's okay. There's In the Heat of the Night. There's the movie. There's the TV show.
The TV show.
There's the Bryan Adams song In the Heat of the Night too. That's 87.
What was I was thinking about Bryan Adams songs the other day.
I mean, okay, Bryan Adams, 1985. Again, Heaven. Okay. His album came out in 84. So in that regard, no.
What year did he do the song with Rod Stewart and Sting?
All for Love.
Yeah.
Yes, that was like late 93, early 94 from
Okay.
the Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
That I remember that was on the radio all the time.
It was like that. He did that, and then he had the Robin Hood one.
Everything I do for you.
Yeah, so he was all in the throwback storylines in that.
Oh,
how about that?
My gosh,
Atta boy.
was.
I like.
Let's
You know
see.
what debuted in 85?
What?
A couple TV shows, if you want to know. We got Moonlighting.
Yes, high quality.
We've got National Geographic Explorer. That debuted on Nickelodeon, believe it or not. We've got the third. Oh, my wife would love this. The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. Remember the voice of that?
Casey Kasem?
No, that was, but like the narrator of it. Vincent Price.
Oh gosh.
13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. There was another one I just saw on this that I was trying to come up here. Growing Pains and MacGyver. 85 debuted.
MacGyver. Oh wait, here you go. Wait a minute. I did. This is not 1985, but just because we're in a Bryan Adams mood here, and yes, he had Summer '69 and '85, and he had Heaven in 1985. But then fast forward 8 years, and he had this.
Yeah.
Let's make it all for love.
What the heck?
Yeah. Watch the video for that, which was on MTV, mind you. And it's just those three just standing around. Gosh, they look young. Wow.
Rod Stewart still probably looks the same with
Right,
all those,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, what am I saying? Rod Stewart never ages. He's still blonde. He's still got spiky hair. Okay, yeah, so
You know what debuted in 1978 for TV, though?
Was that Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas is one of them. WKRP in Cincinnati.
Living on the air in Cincinnati.
Different Strokes, The White Shadow, Battlestar Galactica, Taxi. Oh, good year in TV.
Which is weird.
2020.
I mean, if you look back on some of the shows that didn't work from the late 70s, there's actually, this is how bad a shape NBC was in at the time. There is a YouTube video found a few months ago. I stumbled into this, I think, as we were playing a song on Greatest Hits 98.1 that was a theme song from one of those failed shows. There is it's like a 10 or 15 minute compilation of intros of failed TV shows, I think from NBC from 1979, 1 year later. And there are a lot. It's like 30 shows, and they all were duds. Like practically everything. Well, even a few years later, 83, part of the reason Night Court came on when it did is because like their entire fall lineup was canceled. So they put on Night Court as a midseason replacement.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's a show from 1978 that I think I might be interested in.
What's that?
Project UFO. American television series, which ran on NBC from 1978 to 79. Surveyor, listen to this. Running for 2 seasons of 13 episodes each. The show was based loosely on the real-life Project Blue Book. The show was created by Jack Webb, who poured through Air Force files looking for episode ideas.
Ooh. Yeah, there's some potential there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. It's not on the MeTV or whatever that is. We leave the TV on for the dog, and when I come home, Little House on the Prairie's on, and then it's what's after it? It's a church or something like that, but it's a comedy. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I know I can picture the actor, but I don't know. But yeah, throwback stuff there.
Yeah.
All right. We extended that one a little bit there.
So basically, the long story short is 1985 was better.
1985 was better, easily. Easily better.
It
So
was the first full year I got into sports, so that kind of counts.
Okay,
So
yeah.
got my first baseball cards that year. And
do you remember who you got in 85?
oh gosh, I just got a ton. Like I was just went all in on buying tops. So whatever was in like the 85 set, I still picture like a card of Ron Davis, I think, from the Twins or someone like that. I don't know why, I just remember that image sticks out, but I got a whole bunch that year. I mean, I did the whole kid thing, like, okay, I'm buying cards all the time. I do remember I came across a Dan Marino rookie card a couple years later.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You should go to homage.com and get a Topps t-shirt. I think they got a Topps 85 one.
Ooh.
They got different years on there. Maybe 85. Not sure. Maybe it's like 82 or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
But, yeah.
That's some snazzy logos.
They weren't so expensive. I'd be like buying up a bunch of those sweet swags on there.
By the way, if you want to watch episodes of Project UFO,
yeah,
YouTube.
Oh, really? Okay. I'll have to check it out. Is it black and white?
Color. This is 1978.
Well, the picture is black and white, so that's why I didn't know.
This program is a dramatization inspired by official reports of governmental investigations of claims of reported sightings of unidentified flying objects on file in National Archives of the United States. That's the disclaimer at the beginning.
These are unidentified flying objects that people say they are seeing now.
Yeah.
Are they proof that we are being visited by civilizations from other stars?
Other
Or
stars?
just what are they?
You can't live on a star.
The United States Air Force began an investigation of this high.
Fast forward a little bit of the F. Yeah. Oh, it's the flying letters at the screen.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
No wonder that network was sometimes called Nothing But Catastrophe back then.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we get to 93 so we can talk about Fire in the Sky.
Oh, boy. Yep. All the episodes are there.
You know, you can't find that book for Fire in the Sky. It's so expensive right now.
Really?
Yeah. I've tried to look for it. It's probably going to be one of those at a thrift shop. Macklemore. All right. We'll be back.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
Get ready to save half with half off deals. It's a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, September 16th, with Govin's Farm Corn Maze and Buddies on Board. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
With each mortgage-free home, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's heroes have made for us. And these heroes need your help. That's Gold Star and fallen first responder families with children, our nation's most catastrophically injured first responders and veterans, even our homeless service members. U.S. Marine Corps Corporal Christopher Greer was a firefighter and an EMT in Tennessee when he was deployed to Afghanistan. 25 years of age, gave his life serving our country. Corporal Greer, survived by his wife and their children. Tunnel to Towers paid off the Greer family mortgage. For some families, the foundation brings comfort of knowing that they can stay in the home that they shared with their fallen loved ones. For others, the foundation enables new memories to be cherished forever. Your generosity and support is welcome. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org, letter T, number 2, letter T.org.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Just mix a packet of Eucora with water and drink it when you need support, like right after intimacy. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Introducing Brewers Unfiltered, a brand new podcast covering all things Brewers baseball. Hear from the experts weekly as they deliver news, analysis, and more. Find the latest episode today at brewers.com/unfiltered. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org.
He may not be the smartest sports talk host, but darn it, he gives 110% every time. Now here's your host, Dan Kasper.
You still watching any more UFO stuff over there, Lucas?
Nah,
no, you're done.
No.
You're done. Okay.
I'm really in it for the theme songs. Those are the best parts.
We might have to do a best TV show theme song bracket. Would you be up for something like that?
Oh gosh, hello. Yes.
Okay. What would be like your one seeds off the top of your head?
Oh boy. Right. I mean, Cheers.
Okay.
The very, very top. Like Gilligan's Island is going to be right up at the top. Like, I mean, if I think about it a little bit more, but you might almost have to divvy up drama versus like a drama bracket and then also a separate comedy.
That would be
one.
the regions.
Yeah.
Drama,
but
maybe action.
Yeah. March Madness. There we go. Let's do that. TV theme.
We'd have to have like a region for most ridiculous lyrics. Kind of like, Standing Tall on the Wings of My Dreams.
Yeah.
Rise and Fall.
And my dog ate all my homework last night. Yeah.
Thank you. Saved by the Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Just think about that. Some of those TGIF shows, too.
Yes.
Man. So, but they're iconic. We can sing them.
Yeah. I mean, Step by Step's not going to make it.
Day by day.
Wow. I want Charles in charge of me. of my days and my nights. I heard that was apparently a thing on the Press Box pod, that was
I almost feel like
Queen-related one. I want Charles in charge of my days and my KNIGHT.
I almost feel like we would have to have a separate bracket for just HBO shows.
See, now that's tough for me. I don't have HBO. So
I know, but it's like, you got Game of Thrones, but then, you got some of these other intense ones and all that.
But like
so
The
it's like
Sopranos is
Sopranos.
yeah. So like I don't know. It kind of depends on, and it gets tougher as time goes on, because then TV themes got shortened down to maybe 3 little notes. And in some cases, you didn't even have TV themes anymore. Like by the late 90s,
you got to get Home Improvement on there to get Tim Allen's grunt. Don't do it.
The latter Boy Meets World theme, which they had a bunch of them, but that last one, not great. So, but there's some potential there. But yeah, we'll have to. This is going to be
Roseanne harmonica. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a solid one.
It's one of those, like, as soon as it's playing, if you're not in the room, you know what's on.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Yeah, that Boy Meets World season.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, when they're in college, they're in college. I know what you're talking about.
Boy Meets World.
I hate themes and intros, or I should say, I hate the video intros when you could tell they're just really awkward like that.
Yeah.
Hey, let's look around and just smile.
We're
in our
having fun with each
natural
other.
environment right now.
I still think the best ones are when they just take shots from the show and then they freeze frame on them.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the name pops up. It's so classic. Be really curious to see what this new Night Court is like, how close it is to the original. Because again, I was a big fan of the original Night Court. They got to do this one well. And they got good people involved whenever it shows up. It was supposed to be in the fall lineup, but it got pushed back to mid-season replacement. But I'm cautiously optimistic.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. We're just kind of catching up on some tweets and messages, because a little bit ago we asked, who do you think is the most likely bounce back candidate for the Packers going up against the Bears? A lot of you going with Christian Watson. A lot of you also going with Aaron Jones. We got quite a few A.J. Dillons on there too. A couple of you going with Adrian Amos, picking some other players on the offensive line and such. So you still got a few minutes left if you want to pass those babies on over. Really quick, I think, we're kind of deep diving into kind of flip-flopping back and forth here. The New Mexico State game yesterday with RJ. Kind of forgot. Do you remember who coaches New Mexico State?
One Jerry Kill.
That would be Jerry Kill. So he does have experience going up against Wisconsin. Don't know if that matters, but
no, it's true. Well, he had experience with the Gophers recently and
annihilated,
completely pummeled.
38-0.
Yeah, this is not the game I would want to be involved with if I'm playing the Badgers right now. No, bad timing. And Kill's a good coach, but yeah. Welcome to Camp Randall.
Well, they better do something, otherwise they're going to get creamed by Ohio State.
Okay, Ohio State might cream them anyway. Okay. What was your / RJ's? I don't even know if you've asked Joe, because I wasn't listening to the show yesterday morning. So is this more that Washington State just went all out, homecoming for the coach, back to Wisconsin, all of that sort of stuff? Or is this the Badgers just kind of went like they way underestimated their opponent? Or is this the Badger team we're going to see? What's the general consensus on this game?
I think it's a general consent, or I shouldn't say general, but I think the majority, it's adding more fuel to the fire of get a new head coach. They don't want Paul Chryst.
Wow.
That's kind of
the Jimmy Leonard roars starting to get louder and louder.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So I think that's kind of where it led into. It's like, yep, okay, this is another sign of, get Paul Chryst out of there. So
I don't know that I disagree. I don't have as strong of an opinion on that, obviously, not being a fan of the team. But I mean, and I was watching parts of the game and like, wow, this is really happening. But I mean, Washington State sure seemed to be more on fire. Like they seem to have more energy in that game. And they're not that great of a team, obviously. I mean, they're not New Mexico State, but they're also, Does Paul Chryst get fired after this season?
No, I don't think so.
So we're going to run it back again. Because Chryst, I actually think it's more likely Chryst resigns. Just goes, you know what, this just isn't all working, than getting fired. Because the Badgers under Chryst are still going to be quite competitive. That's the tough thing about the Badgers. Can you really fire a pretty good coach? I mean, you can, yes, and teams have done that, but especially one of your own.
It depends on if you think he's still a pretty good coach.
And then it's a matter of, what does Chris McIntosh think? That's what matters, ultimately.
Yeah.
And I guess with some Alvarez influence, but it's going to be McIntosh's call.
Here would be an interesting one, and I think RJ, I don't want to speak for him, but I think I would know his answer. Who would be let go first, Tony Granato or Paul Chryst? I think it would be Tony Granato.
I would think so. The underwhelming nature of Badger. I mean, Badger hockey was supposed to be back.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. Whereas with Paul Chryst, it was more the guy you kind of wanted and figured you could stabilize the Badgers. But I never recall there being the thought of, now they're going to the college football playoff. So in a way, they're kind of close to the expectations, a little under, but not that far.
Except for
off.
the noted, infamous Sports Illustrated cover year.
Well, yeah, there was that. The old lineman. But Badger hockey is underwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I expected way more from them. So yeah, I think Granato's in far more trouble.
I would agree.
Plus, Granato also precedes McIntosh's tenure. So I don't know how close they are. I don't want to get into is it his guy? I mean, maybe so, but I don't know. So I can't comment.
All right. Let's take our final break, and then we'll cover some bases and that good stuff. So last call for any texts. Hit us up, 715-830-1912 if you got anything good to hear. So, all right. Quick break. We'll be back in just a little bit.
You're listening to The Dan Kasper Show.
Do you remember the countless times when you were young and playing in the backyard, daydreaming of playing against or with your favorite athlete, or imagining yourself chasing your dreams and experiencing life the way you're supposed to? That's how we came up with a name for Backyard Dreams. Backyard Dreams is WAYY Sports Talk 105.1 790 AM's charitable entity. We have 5 main goals for Backyard Dreams: to provide and promote opportunities for anyone to have a chance to play, to help anyone overcome obstacles to chase their dreams, to help raise awareness for those in need, to help create opportunities for those to enjoy their passions, and to help those enjoy their life and create special memories. It doesn't matter if you are a child, teen, or an adult. Backyard Dreams wants to help anyone. For more information, success stories about Backyard Dreams, and if you know someone who could benefit from Backyard Dreams, just visit sportstalk1051.com and click on the Backyard Dreams tab. Football season is here, and if you're like me, it's got me thinking about the good old days. Friday night lights, touchdowns, cool fall weather, and those old sports injuries. Let me ask you a quick question. Are you still dealing with some pain from those old sports injuries? Is that pain still bothering you today? Let's change that. Start living that pain-free life. And you can accomplish that with the help from Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. To start living that pain-free life today, visit CVOSM.com to get started.
With each mortgage-free home, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's heroes have made for us. And these heroes need your help. That's Gold Star and fallen first responder families with children, our nation's most catastrophically injured first responders and veterans, even our homeless service members. U.S. Marine Corps Corporal Christopher Greer was a firefighter and an EMT in Tennessee when he was deployed to Afghanistan. 25 years of age, gave his life serving our country. Corporal Greer, survived by his wife and their children. Tunnel to Towers paid off the Greer family mortgage. For some families, the foundation brings comfort of knowing that they can stay in the home that they shared with their fallen loved ones. For others, the foundation enables new memories to be cherished forever. Your generosity and support is welcome. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org, letter T, number 2, letter T.org.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $700 on average, and those savings add up. Imagine what you could buy in the future.
So I used the savings from switching to Progressive 30 years ago to buy tickets to the championship game. You know, between those two teams that didn't exist 30 years ago. Yeah, I'm a big Alaska Palm Trees fan. Which is a team now in the future.
So switch to Progressive and save big, because those savings can add up in the future. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customer surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
Need to hire? Find great people fast with Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring solutions helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
There's still time for business owners to claim their federal aid under the Employee Retention Tax Credit Program. Cash refunds of up to $26,000 per employee are available for employers who continue to pay their employees during the COVID epidemic. You can claim the credit even if you received a PPP loan. The licensed CPAs and tax professionals at Ferguson, Timar & Associates have been serving business owners across the country for over 15 years. Our tax credit specialists are available now at 833-ERC-FILE. That's 833-ERC-FILE.
More than the scores. More than the news. It's Sports Out the Squeaker. The Dan Kasper Show.
Brewers will try the mini 2-game sweep tonight. Corbin Burns on the mound, Adam Wainwright on the other side for the Cardinals. First pitch around 6:45. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes prior, so about 10 after 6 here on the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Packers will also return to practice today. Maybe we'll get a glimpse of some of the injuries and that sort of stuff, see if anybody's back on the field. Don't expect to hear anything about David Bakhtiari and Jenkins today. I'm just going to tell you right now. So if you're holding your breath to find out if you're going to know anymore, I would be, let's just say this, I would be more shocked if Matt LaFleur admitted anything today.
Yeah.
Even if they're on the practice field, that don't mean a darn thing because they've been on the practice field for how many weeks? So don't hold your breath.
A lot.
Yeah.
Looking warm and humid for Sunday Night Football. And kind of, let's see, what I was looking this up yesterday. Weather-wise, it will be kind of, the winds will be subsiding. It's going to be windier that day, but now the latest forecast, not so much. So it'll be warm, humid. Actually, 60 was about a 50% chance of showers.
Another slip and slide game.
Soldier Field. That field always sucks. It doesn't matter what they do. It's always going to be bad. Just bad. By the way, a complete change of subject here. Do you hear we now have another Wisconsin major pro sports team owner that is a Premier League owner?
Mark Anasio.
Of Norwich City, green and gold. So you got your choice now. You can go Mark Atanasio with Norwich City. That's not, I should say, they're not the Premier League. They're in the Championship, but they have often been in the Premier League.
Is he the primary owner or is he just a share?
Minority.
Okay.
It's not like Wes Edens where he's like 50-50 in Aston Villa.
Okay.
So it's far less influential. I mean, what Wes Edens is doing with his co-partner, and I remember I had the guy on from The Athletic a few weeks ago that covers in the UK that covers Aston Villa, and they're doing like a whole renovation of the stadium, like basically kind of what Fiserv Forum, but that had to be a new project. Here it's like a whole renovation thing. But yeah, Wes Edens has far more influence on his team than I think Mark Atanasio will have on Norwich City. Plus, you've got that whole thing with English soccer fans. We talked about this before, where they're very leery of Americans coming in because there's a recent history of poor management. Blazers and Stan Kroenke, the Fenway Group, they've not done. I mean, for owning some big teams, they seem to be looking at them more as just like investment opportunities than actually caring about the team. But the Aston Villa folks love Wes Edens. He's actually been like, okay, we're going to make this team good. Hopefully Atanasio, and I think Atanasio, he seems like he's the kind of guy who would actually care a little bit more. But as I said, he's a minority owner, so I don't know what really comes out of that. Other than the team, whenever it gets promoted again to the Premier League, and that'll happen at some point, that investment will go up.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
All right.
Stock rising, literally.
I'm sure for people who are upset with Mark Anasio, that probably they don't want to hear that. Oh, yeah, you've been spending money on another team, but you can't spend it on ours.
That sounds like the complaint of a lot of Red Sox fans right now, too. I just mentioned the Fenway Group, John Henry, that there are a lot of Red Sox fans. I hear about this on the Baseball Tonight pod all the time. Like have the Red Sox become just part of the portfolio at this point because they keep spending money on, well, Liverpool going the other way, but then all these other things that they're doing. They bought the Penguins and all sorts of other things. That are these owners really caring about improving the team, or are they just trying to diversify as much and try to make as many quality investments to increase their value for themselves?
Because doesn't Boston, they have the Fenway Group, don't they? Like LeBron James is a part of it,
right? That's why LeBron, I think, is now part owner of Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
The Liverpool fans, I don't think are as they're not fans of the Fenway Group. They're not as anti-ownership as like Arsenal fans are of Stan Kroenke. They hate him. And you should see have you ever seen what Manchester United fans think of the Glazer family?
No. They don't like him?
That would be a very mild way of putting it.
Okay.
They cannot stand the Glazers. Ooh, there's some owner hatred over there.
Hey, I just saw this pop up on Twitter since you mentioned Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
30th anniversary. 30 years ago today, Zach and Slater got in that brawl.
That's right.
If you remember, 30 years ago.
Oh, I see. Yeah, Albert Breer just retweeted that. There's a breakdown. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't put
because what else do we have left to do in our lives besides break down, TV fights from, kids shows?
And... we got replays here and everything. Oh yeah,
through with another right hook. And Zach right now is praying to baby Jesus. He is praying to the Lord.
All right, I'm going to pull it down just in case this gets unsafe for radio. Because I don't know how safe that's supposed to be. Point is, though, that's going to be something to watch after the show. And if you, the listener, were a Saved by the Bell fan, go look at Albert Breer's Twitter feed. You'll find the retweet.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We got about a minute left, and then I can head out of here and hopefully get in early and get poked.
You do know Michael Keaton won an Emmy the other night, right?
What?
Yeah.
I don't watch those shows.
It keeps getting promoted in my Twitter feed from Kia. Probably,
What did he win for?
Outstanding lead actor in a limited or anthology series or movie.
Was that one with the opioid show?
Dope Sick.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And then he got bleeped in his speech.
Of course he did. So.
Michael Keaton.
I saw that
2022 Emmy winner.
Batgirl or whatever got nixed, so we can't see him in Batman in that suit. There was like a video or
it's going to be in Batgirl, and then they canceled Batgirl, so now we don't get it.
Son of a.
I think that movie's going to come out at some point. You can't get that far along. I know it wasn't finished editing, but you can't get that far in and be like, just bye-bye. Sorry.
I think he's going to be in a Flash movie, though, as Batman, so
Probably.
maybe we'll see him.
It's just not over. There will be more Michael Keaton.
What a rise, huh? Where he was at, then you didn't hear anything, and now he's back.
I seriously wonder.
Brendan Fraser's like the next one now for that.
Well, it's starting.
Yeah.
The Whale, you know what? I mean, it's happening now.
Man, 80s and 90s are making a comeback, baby. Let's do this.
Oh, gosh. It's true. It's true.
Now I know what it was like when our parents were like always still listening to old school stuff and like, why are you listening to old stuff? Now I get it.
So
I get it.
Here's the futures bet. Which 2000s era actor is going to have a renaissance beginning in about 2026?
Johnny Depp.
Nah.
Johnny Depp.
The VMA thing fell flat.
What else? Who else is out there? Early 2000s, really quick.
Oh, that's the thing.
That's the only name that came to my mind right away with Johnny Depp.
Think about someone who dominated the aughts. Sorry.
I don't know.
That might come up in the next showdown. 2003. I don't know.
Will Ferrell? I don't know. I'm trying to think of comedies from 2000.
He's going to be the GOAT. Or the EGOT. Sorry.
EGOTs.
You're listening to The Dan Patrick Show on WAYY Eau Claire. W286CK Eau Claire. Sports Talk 105.1.
You're out, you're about, but you want your Dan Patrick. Well, good news, he goes everywhere with you. If you missed the show, you can podcast it. If you want to see the show, just go to Peacock and we stream it live every weekday. Watch past episodes too. The Dan Patrick Show, available anywhere you are, any way you want it. Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show, where in the decade plus I've been here, there's always been a rule.
When we make a bet, something is attached to it. Otherwise, nobody cares.
Now, Todd, fan of the objectively horrible Broncos.
Let's ride, Todd.
Is trying to welch, and baby hands bleeding hard Marvin almost fell for it.
Man, Fritzy's had a rough go at it.
But Dan Nate